Hopefully I've got it right now. All right, like the stamp, send it. Oh, yeah. Hello and welcome to the show. Today, I've got a good friend of mine hanging out with me in the makeshift studio at the new CBD Auto secret headquarters. Mr. Chris Fitch, buddy.
Happy to be here, mate.
Welcome,
Thanks for the invite.
Welcome to the show. Like so many of my guests, you have said to me, who on earth would want to hear my story? And I said to you, I do. I don't really care about whether or not anybody else enjoys this show. The people I invite onto this show are people who I think are fascinating.
Well,
such is the joy.
that's where you got to start. If you enjoy it, then maybe others will as well.
And that's always my hope, is that somewhere in this people find little nuggets of joy or good stories that they relate to, or just the fascinating exercise that is the human experience. But Chris, you also did something for me today, which I really appreciate. And you bought your 90s Pimp Daddy whip. For those watching on video and not just with your ears, do you want to tell me a little bit about the car that you turned up in here, mate?
Well, you were integral in this process. I'm sure you'd remember that.
Of course I was, mate. I'm very good at encouraging people to do dumb things. I'm just stoked when they listen to me.
During COVID, that was, where we were, I think we were all in your office, and I don't know how we got onto the subject. I think, because wasn't your brother buying the 7 Series BMW?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, and I was telling him not to because that's just dumb.
But he went and did that anyway.
And then he learned how dumb it is.
Well, that went down in value.
Quite badly. Actually, no, he got out of it all right, but the servicing cost him a bomb.
I think he paid for it 3 times.
At least.
Yeah. So I was looking at, I don't know, that sort of era, 90s era, and wasn't 100% sure what I wanted. I kind of wanted a Holden Kingswood, but that doesn't look as cool, so...
It's really not, and it also... Yeah.
They were bombs back in the day, the Kingswoods.
They really were. Cool, but...
Well, all the Paul families drove them at that time.
Oh, absolutely. They were not a flash vehicle.
No, they're very, very run-of-the-mill.
Very humble.
Princess Diana had one of these, and Tupac Shakur, among many others, and rich people at the time. I think they were almost $300,000.
Correct.
When they came out.
And to apply context, a house was like a flash house, like a nice big 5-bed house or whatever it was, would have been like, what, 80 grand or something?
Yeah.
You buy a house on the river back then for about 200 grand, I remember, here in Brisbane, to apply context. So this car was more expensive than riverfront property in Brisbane at the time.
Yeah.
Just to apply context.
Just crazy money.
Yeah, so black on black, Mercedes SL 500 with the optional hardtop.
Which we've taken off. You and I took that off.
And 3-spoke Brabus blades.
Yeah. Pretty happy with it. It's been almost 4 years now. I've put less than 4,000 kilometres on it. I'm reluctant to add kilometres unless I feel like driving it. I used to drive it to the gym and back, and then took it off general registration and now have it on special rego to save some money.
Absolutely. Or V8, like the regos are spicy.
Yeah, it's like $1,300 a year.
Which is a lot for something you don't drive.
Well, when your other car is paid for by where you work, it's like, well...
Doesn't make a lot of sense.
And I never drive it.
Yeah.
Unless it's to a car show or to a workshop. Or just to test the running of it to go around the block.
That's where they live.
Give it a rev, but...
Yeah, there's some wicked photos of, like, Tupac in his SL. Yeah. Just ultimate 90s baller.
I just like it. It's just I think you might have even said this, but it's the right car for you is when you get out of it and walk towards the shop or wherever you're going and you look back at it a few times and you're just like, man, I just really like the car. Like, it's not for really any other reason. I never had Mercedes in my life growing up at all, and always thought they were kind of rich, wanker banker cars, lawyer cars. And, never went about it that way. Just went, that looks cool. That'll do me.
absolutely. I remember encouraging you going, that is a car that the market is yet to realise, and it still hasn't fully appreciated it, but that does take time.
That's not the main reason for buying it.
But it never hurts.
Never hurts.
It's nice to know that they're going up.
Yeah.
But when you look back and you enjoy them, that is the one. When you get out of it and you smile and you look at it and you go, whew.
Yeah. Yeah, it was the same with like motorbikes. You know, if you look back and go, that's sick.
Well, that's it.
Yeah.
You don't choose it, it chooses you. And you go, that's the one.
That's the one.
They are a very emotional purchase. So despite, wicked 90s shitboxes, Chris, you've also done a range of things over the years as I've known you that I have found fascinating. And the reason I've probably found it so fascinating is lots of people that I meet in life go, oh, I'd love to do this, I'd love to do that, but... And they go, there's always a reason as to why they can't do it. And whether that reason is true or in their heads, I've always looked at life in the sense that if you want to do something, you'll find a way. If you don't want to do it, you'll find an excuse.
Yeah.
And you have never been a man that's found an excuse. And you've gone and done some pretty colourful things over the years. I've been astonished at your journey and some of the things that you've done.
Well, thanks.
Mate, and we're gonna unpack a few of those today.
Sure.
But what we might do is what I always do and go, where are you born? You are Brizzy, aren't you? You're born and bred.
I think like one of your previous guests, Kat, who I listened to that one.
Recorded right here in this very same studio.
Yeah. I think she was a Brisbane girl.
Yeah, Capalaba.
A bit younger than us, but yeah, Brisbane boy. Lived here my whole life. I think probably partly because the old man's business is here and has been since 1979. So I was born in 1985. So hence we never felt any need to move because that's. The business is
south of the river or north of the river, Chris? Important Brisbane questions.
Like Cat, south side.
Represent.
Yep.
Which part? Where was the family home?
Coorparoo.
Coorparoo.
Which is where I live to this day. Moved many times, but 4 years ago found myself buying a place back in Coorparoo. Not a house. I wish I could afford a house, but on one income, not able to do so at this stage. So it's an apartment is the great Australian dream these days, is owning an apartment.
I think owning anything in the year 2024 is an achievement, given that everything now costs $1 million.
I'm just glad I got in 2020.
Amen.
When I did and got rid of the other property that I had, which was taking me backwards in the valley. But yeah, grew up in Coorparoo on the top of, if you know where the McDonald's is in Coorparoo, for anyone listening.
I do. Just near what is now Coorparoo Square. Is it that one, that Maggie's?
Yeah, near Coorparoo Square, near Coorparoo State School. We lived... back then it wasn't really like rich, but now it's like mega rich on the top of that hill there.
Were you up there?
Yeah.
Like Bella Vista or one of those?
Letchworth Road.
Yeah, up in the Baller streets.
Yeah, we were sort of around the corner from the Ballers, I suppose. But
in the broad proximity of the 80s Brisbane Ballers.
Yeah.
City glimpses back then, or?
Oh, yeah, we had great city views. Like, Mum and Dad renovated that place, and I think they bought it in probably early 80s, I think, maybe, and then renovated it. Then we sold, with hindsight.
Oh, yeah. Oh, could you imagine?
Wouldn't have sold it, but they bought it for $50,000. Sold it for, what was it? Probably $300,000.
Yeah, which again was like top of the market.
1997.
Yeah. That was the most money you could spend.
That was a good price at the time.
Absolutely. It was massive.
It's crazy how money just
is so stupid.
Just gets out of control in the way we run our economies. But anyway.
Yeah. Such is the joy of capitalism and never-ending exponential return.
Yeah. But I think I heard something the other day. It's a two-speed economy.
It is.
Is how we operate.
Correct.
You're either in
haves or have-nots.
Yeah. growth or recession kind
Correct.
of thing. Or like the US, you just, hey, we're in mad debt. Let's just keep printing money. That'll solve the problem. And
Does for a while, but that's the thing I've
keep
found
masking the problem.
is it just pushes the gap between have and have not to be more severe.
Yeah.
Because those who have make money when it's up or when it's
They
down.
make money off money.
And you make more money in a recession than you do because people are liquidating, which is what is happening now, is people are just unloading. And so if you've got the capital, you can just go, thank you.
When there's blood in the streets, buy.
Amen.
Yeah.
That's the problem. It is a great time to buy. That's why I've got to stop looking at Marketplace.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a dangerous
There's too
dangerous area, particularly if you're interested in cars and random stuff like you are. Or,
Oh, yeah. There's too many good things.
yeah.
Mate, little fella growing up in Coorparoo Primary School.
Yeah, Coorparoo State School.
There you go.
Very good school.
Very pleasant place to go.
Yeah. Fond memories. I think most people have pretty good memories of their primary schools.
It's because we don't remember it.
Probably.
And
Partly.
we weren't getting... Oh, no, they were still hitting people. Did you still have the cane back then? We still did.
I think we had the ruler.
The ruler?
Yeah.
Still cop a beat down.
It was on the way out, though, that sort of
Yeah.
corporal punishment in schools.
Yeah. They could still throw a duster
Duster
at your head.
or...
That was the big one, the wooden duster coming fucking flying across the room at you. Imagine if you did that now.
Fuck, you'd be on the news.
Can't you
Lose
imagine?
your job
Like
by the end of the day.
Old mate makes a fucking joke on stage the other night, and concert is
Jack
cancelled.
Black.
Yeah, I'm not going
Coal
to the
gas.
concert tonight because I was supposed to be there this evening, and it's all over.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, no, the whole tour's cancelled, and
Yeah, I saw that. That's
and it's all game over because of something somebody said at one place, and because of the way media works now, you can then fan it and blow it up, and again, not a great thing to say when you're in a position of authority, which is fair enough. Like wishing,
and everything's
Wishing
recorded,
violence.
obviously now. And if that was a concert
Correct.
30 years ago,
Oh, fuck.
no one would have heard about it.
no, nobody would know. You'd have to be there to know. Whereas now, you are
It's on everyone's phone, and then
everything
it's
is
blowing
there
up.
all the time. So again, imagine somebody throwing a fucking duster at somebody's head like was done to us when we were kids. Mate, you'd have that filmed in slow motion, and then that person would be kicked out of the school and going to jail.
Yeah, we had a teacher who was pretty old school, Mr. Madden, legend, like awesome maths teacher. Taught me a lot about maths actually, and he would get you by the earlobe, twist it,
Yeah, right.
and say like, "Get here now!" Like, get your ass in the line, boy. And I think we are missing that to a certain degree. Obviously, I'm not an advocate for corporal punishment, but
No.
just the sort of bringing kids into line.
Well, see, violence breeds violence is the problem.
It does,
Is
yeah.
what we've discovered. Well, that's what the research says anyway, is if you hit kids, those kids will grow up to be the sort of people who hit people.
Yeah.
Because you have said that this is how authority treats with lesser beings, is that you physically intimidate them and you physically hurt them. Whereas I also totally agree that we've gone too far the other way.
That's what I'm
where
trying to
there's no,
say. Yeah.
where there's no guidelines.
Yeah, I think it's just because it went to where, look, that's not acceptable.
No, it's not
and then
great.
the pendulum swung back to
Way too far.
do whatever the fuck you want. We can't do anything to you.
Correct.
We can't even hug you, children.
Our hands are tied, and police play catch and release, which is sort of one of the big things around this next election, where they're going, what the fuck? Like, the police know the criminals, but they're not allowed to do anything if they're underage, and they go, oh, don't be naughty.
Yeah.
Okay, bye. And then they like go and stab someone, and they're like, oh. And then people are up in arms going, but why? And you go, soft.
Yeah, well, the older criminals send in the younger
Correct.
recruits because
They know.
nothing's going to happen.
No, correct, because they know that here's what you can get away with. And then that cycle's perpetuated for 10 years here in Queensland, and now it's, again, spun so far out of control that they've actually got to push it back the other way to try and get it
Yeah, well, that's part of the uproar, I suppose,
into
in
some
the
sort of
community.
normalcy. Absolutely. People are just losing their fucking minds going, like, there's people talking about castle protection laws where you can, like, try to, for it to be okay for you to beat the fuck out of somebody that comes into your house.
Yeah, rather than be sued by the perpetrator.
Whereas if you do anything now, if you hurt somebody breaking into your home who is threatening you and your family,
you're going to jail.
You're going to jail.
Yeah,
not
which
them,
is fucked.
Which is not great when you've let it go this far.
That's just stupid.
Correct.
And I think, like, the American gun stuff is probably a step too far, like being able to
Absolutely.
bear arms, but being able to protect your family and your home is a necessary protection for your citizens.
I don't think that it's unreasonable. I don't think that you should be in trouble. I think that there should be at least an understanding of going that this is unacceptable. And I think that it's also sad that you have to have that discussion, because I agree with you. Like, I quite enjoy firearms, but I'm very glad that they're very well controlled here.
Yeah, because you look at the stuff that goes on in the US.
You look at the statistics, and the statistics say you are more
likely to shoot your own family
to
members.
shoot yourself
Yep.
or your family.
I've had a bad day.
Yeah.
I've got access to a weapon. Yes, it's in a locked cabinet, but I have the key.
Correct.
And if I'm having a really, really bad day or a bad argument, then it's one step away.
Correct.
That's really not far enough away.
It is not far enough away, and half of that stuff isn't even locked up properly.
Well, and you could be mentally stable when you've purchased that weapon.
Correct.
But then in 3 years or even 2 months, you could be completely mentally unstable, lose your job, lose your relationship.
Absolutely. Like, we're all only one or two decisions away from everything spiralling totally out of control.
Yeah.
And this is the thing that I find most fascinating about the facade of society, is that, we're 48 hours away from anarchy or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like, is the actual, this facade of everything.
Cut the grid and remove access to running water, and you see chaos pretty
Absolutely.
quickly.
And you'll see, we've already discovered what people will do. They'll hoard toilet paper.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I'll throw it out there. That wasn't what I was expecting. I still think that's...
I was pretty lucky in that time where I had the subscription to Who Gives a Crap.
Ah, beautiful. So you were getting cartons of TP.
Yeah, well, I already had the ongoing thing, and they actually, if I recall correctly, they did a thing where they said, we are supplying our loyal subscribers first.
Correct.
And everyone else, if we have stock, we'll supply it.
But get in line.
Get in line.
I still can't believe that that's what everybody went for.
Yeah. Yeah, that
obviously didn't go far enough.
No.
So, because I'm still baffled by that.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I'm lost.
Yeah.
And this is why we, again, follow the character arc of people's lives, because we get to...
it's good to have...
TP.
I enjoy about your podcast is the random offcuts
meandering stupidity.
into opinions on things that are happening.
Absolutely.
Which is probably what other people listening might be thinking about.
And it sort of is, and the sort of person that is interested in this show just enjoys the same sort of thing. We like just broadening our mind and considering other thoughts and other possibilities, and that's the whole point of what we're doing here. Yeah. So, Chris, as a young whippersnapper in those happy primary school years, how did you go? Were you much good at school? Were you a dedicated student, troublemaker?
No, I sort of tended to sit in the average to above average category, but not sort of greatly above. I sort of like to not be too good at things to maintain friendships as well, because that can... If you're too good at something, you could be in the nerd category, or you could be you're in the jock category now, or...
Which was a big thing, and I'm not sure if it's still the same in the schooling system now, because I'm not fully across it, but you think back to... And even oh my God, like I'm having flashbacks of the movies where there was like the nerds versus jocks, and it was like that was a big thing in the 80s.
Yeah.
Porky's or something. There were like these stupid movies about the... Yeah. Whereas the difference now is that like nerds rule the world.
Yeah.
And the jocks are bagging groceries.
Yeah.
And teaching PE. Like, it's not... And that's the funny thing, is that's not the world that it was when we were growing up, is it?
No.
I'm sure there's still plenty of that. I'm sure there's still plenty of chest beating, but be interesting, actually.
I don't know. I just went about participating in lots of different things, and swimming and cricket and rugby and shot put, and
Tried the buffet.
yeah, just see what you're good at and see what you like, and running and athletics, etc. And honestly, I tended to be friendly with most people, and but then you have your little cliques of people you're comfortable with, obviously, and I tended to sit in if anything, I'd sit in the class clown type of area at times. I wanted to have fun, have people laugh at things that I did, and obviously that generates feelings of happiness, and it endears you to your classmates. If you
Sure does.
teachers would always say, he's if he only applied himself, he would. I mean, you heard that a billion times.
That old chestnut.
He would be. He's very smart, but he spends a lot of time talking shit with his fellow classmates. So.
Yeah, and see, what's funny is they go, what are you going to do with that? And go, fast forward to 2024. And
I'll be on a podcast one day.
Shit.
You watch.
And even funnier that none of this existed, or could have even, you couldn't even imagine this existing when you go back to that point
Just
in
the
time.
whole,
barrier to
you better
media.
learn this maths because you'll never have a calculator in your pocket.
Bam!
Yeah. Oh, well, how do you even press those buttons?
Not well. Sorry,
Talking about Scotty's watch here.
my joke there is the calculator watch that I wear that, you weren't allowed to have in primary school because it was cheating because you won't have a calculator on you
Yes.
every day.
Of course.
These were banned in school because you won't have a calculator on you every day, so you need to know your times tables. I'm like, guess what, dickhead? I'm fucking mid-40s and I still don't know my times tables, and it doesn't matter. Do you know what I do? I talk to my phone and it tells me.
Yeah.
I ask it.
What's X times X?
Yeah, I now have a
Instant answer.
processing computer in my pocket that has the entirety of human knowledge in it, and it talks to me.
Yep. Pretty handy.
Yeah, pretty handy. Suck on that, primary school teachers. You were wrong.
Yeah, it makes you think about things you're doing now and advice you give to younger people.
And the fact that we're wrong the same way that lots of the stuff our parents told us.
Probably mostly going to be wrong about
big generation.
what's going to be around in the future. And
Yeah, we have no fucking idea, mate.
No.
We think we do. Odds are we're wrong.
Odds are you're going to be wrong. Yeah.
So I enjoy that you're already a man who liked to try the buffet of life. So you were trying all the different things.
Yeah. I don't know. I just want to find
give it a go.
different areas of what sort of fits me, I guess. Yeah.
Did you end up? This is where our lives intersect. Not this early, but Church of England Grammar School. Did you start there in 5 or 8? Were you a Preppy?
Churchy, 1998.
Yes.
So didn't you finish in 99?
Yeah, mate. I was out of there actually the year before you started. You whippersnapper. I graduated 1997.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you're not. Yeah, before.
I'm old as shit, mate.
Jesus.
Fucking 7 years older than you.
No,
Does that make sense?
No, because you graduated 97, I graduated 02.
Yeah, 5
so
years.
5, yeah. Yeah, well, I started in grade 8.
Yeah, right.
With a collection of people from Cooperoo State School.
So you missed the prep experience?
Yeah, I didn't know it was a thing.
Didn't get yelled at by Mr. Barker?
I'm kind of glad I didn't go to an all-boys school that early, to be honest.
And then there was also the bloke that's now in jail, who we thought it was very confusing, who used to love tucking people's shirts in.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, that was
that the religious fella?
spicy one. No, that was another one.
Ah.
Yeah.
Yes, I had a religion teacher who, I think he wasn't long in jail, maybe 18 months. But
Yeah.
that was some old 20-year-old stuff I think he got pulled up on, historical child abuse cases. But
Yeah, it's just fucked, because at the time I just go, geez, that guy's really worried about the shirt tucking in thing. And it's not till you're an adult that you go, wow, that guy's a pedophile.
Yeah. Why are you putting a hand
down
my backside or
pants.
front? Yeah.
Yeah. And he'd always be tucking boys' shirts in, and you're there going, ugh. Which
Yes.
I think is why a lot of us have gone very Yeah.
Anti-tucking boys' shirts in?
Tucking shirts in and all these sorts of things, because you go, well, that's a spicy meatball. Well, actually, prep was pretty cool, like, aside from, the weird shirt tucking in. How did you find that, actually? Was that... I'd often wondered, because there were obviously friendship groups formed, but you said you had quite a few people that came across from Coorparoo?
Yeah, it was only... I wasn't really close mates with any of them, though.
Okay.
Although we did, for comfort and security, as you do, hung around one another.
Yeah,
initially.
You had some common bond.
Yeah, well, we knew who each other's faces and that sort of thing. So we started off as a bit of a clique, and I think a couple of us remained mates for a few years, but then probably only one lasted the whole 5 years.
Yeah,
there because
you find your own people.
Yeah, you do, and Churchy was a good school for making really good mates that I've got to this day. That's the thing I always tell people is, look, if you want to send your kids to an all-boys private school, there's certain things that are positives and there's certain things that, I mean, from your own experiences where you can relate, but certain things that you say, yeah, these are good things, and if you value these, then perhaps choose this path for your son or daughter, but if you want something else, maybe the opposite sex to be involved in your upbringing, then, which I now think is quite important, because coming out of school was, okay, so how do you talk to women? Like, honestly.
Yeah?
For fucking ages.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. It was a huge barrier for me. And
just for you or other fellas as well?
I don't know. I've spoken to other people that say the same thing,
yeah,
even girls who went to all-girls schools that were just... I mean, I went to parties and dances and things like that, but I think I had some issues with my confidence through teenage years, and I used to sort of cover for that with the boys. Like, I could cover for that and show a bit of bravado or
absolutely
talk shit, make jokes, but then with girls or women, they can see through that pretty quickly.
You can't play
do
the same tune. No.
I thought you could.
Yeah.
So first year out of school,
you're there just ripping the boys' routines and going, this doesn't play really well.
I lived in Townsville, James Cook University on campus, so that's where I went to uni straight out of grade 12 with a good mate of mine studying law, and just literally trying to rip on chicks.
Yeah, right.
Like they were blokes.
Yeah,
I just had no idea.
Pay people out.
Mate, I had a massive Eminem poster on my room door. I thought I was Eminem. I was known as like the wigger of the block.
Excellent.
Because me and my mate would be pumping Eminem out of our window like every day.
So circa 2003. Excellent.
Yeah. So...
just living that hardcore white boy life.
It's just, I don't know, just Eminem. Something about Eminem at that time certainly spoke to me as a teenager finding his way.
The disenfranchised men in...
Yeah, just a bit angry, like lack of direction, or, your parents as you are at that time, just for no fucking reason necessarily. But
absolutely, and the fact that our bodies are heaving with testosterone and our brains aren't fully formed till we're 25, so we're fucking loose cannons.
Yeah. Yeah, you think it's cool, and I mean I still listen to Eminem to this day, to be fair, but
absolutely.
And I think he's a fantastic...
He's a very impressive artist.
Fantastic. Oh, is that the compressor?
That's the compressor.
That's featured in previous episodes?
Yeah, you would have heard in Cats of Furo's episode. Yes. That is the CBD auto compressor. I thought that I'd switched it off. Here's the real concern, is that I've obviously flicked a switch to off for something else.
Yep. Hopefully we're recording then.
Yeah, what's really funny though is when I actually listened back to it, I couldn't really hear the compressor as badly. Like when you're actually hearing the space, it sounds pretty wild.
It's just in the... I think when I was listening to it, it's just in the background, so it's...
Yeah, it's actually not as bad as it sounds in our ears, so I at least know that we can sort of truck on through those things. But before we race out of school, obviously that's fairly formative years.
You can
Still
guide
lots
me
of-
if I get off track because
That's what I do.
I don't necessarily know the outline that you want to.
That's my
go through.
job as the host, mate, is where
You'd hope so.
I'm taking you on a journey.
Do your fucking job.
Absolutely. I'm trying, mate. Settle down. And see, that's
Got any
one, of those,
beers?
that's one of those smooth moves. I don't. But we have a guest producer here today. We have Mr. Daniel Sharp in the house. So if we did want a beer, we could probably send him out to help out.
That could be a bit rude,
On
though.
your brother. No, that's not rude. That's what we do.
Send him with the Amex.
Yeah, here you go, mate. We'll send you out to get some tins. I don't even know if there is one around here. That's right, you got a car.
Oh, bottler.
Yeah.
Oh, there's heaps around here. Mate.
Oh, yeah, there's one just across the road. Hey, Sharpie, do you want to be a producer? Forex Gold? Yeah. Hang on. Live on the air. This is the high. Hang on. In the front of that, I'm going to grab a 6-pack of Forex Gold. You might also need the. Oh, if you leave the door unlocked, so you'll actually you'll have to throw a thumbs up as you walk across camera. You're a legend,
You're the
Charlie.
man.
You've just paid for yourself.
I didn't necessarily want to ask Sharpie to
No.
go and do it for us. We should have thought of this beforehand.
That's my job. And what I like, and this is what Chubby, he was there helping me line it up because he's obviously got a wonderful eye for production stuff. And he's there going, oh, this stuff's in shot. And I'm there going, nah, doesn't matter.
It really doesn't.
No.
I mean, most people listen to this on audio medium
Absolutely.
anyway.
And trying to host the show professionally and trying to tell a good story and trying to get the audio quality right, because we had our boy Lucian pop in and just do some sound work because he indicated to me that I've been eating the microphone, which I now can't unhear.
I think he said to me, you're whispering sweet nothings to him like you're in bed next to him.
Well, that's what I was trying to do, and that's wonderful. I'm not upset about that. That feels like a great review.
It's quite soothing.
Mate, I'd like that. Like if I could have that on a poster to go.
Scott Nelson, I whisper sweet nothings.
Sweet
to my
nothings to
guest.
bed. I could probably be very popular on Audible reading
Yeah,
Sweet Nothings.
yeah.
I might have a missed opportunity here.
I think you've been working on your podcast for us, haven't you?
Dear Lucian, I have, mate. I've been working hard on the podcast for us.
Must be hard to listen to yourself back on the... Initially, I mean.
Initially,
not
it's
now.
horrible.
Yeah.
I found it
I don't know if I'll listen to my
No,
own.
I actually found it really horrible and really disconcerting.
Yeah.
And, like in your mind, all your fears of failure and not good enough and all those sorts of things.
Yeah, constantly.
You have all those thoughts while also having, your hyper self-critical mind where you judge your own stuff harsher than anything else, and then trying to observe it as a third party.
Oh, yeah.
And it took me quite a while to get used to it, but then also to reach a point where I listened to it and I could actually just listen to the story and not just criticise myself. That's probably the hardest part.
So you're more concerned about the track of the story rather than the...
I listen to two things. I listen for technical skill. So I'm listening to, has the show been produced properly, exported properly, is the sound quality right, is the loudness right, all those sorts of things. And then also, is the story interesting, engaging? Do I talk too much?
Yeah.
Am I asking the right sort of questions? Am I keeping it on track?
Gotcha.
Those sorts of things.
Yep.
Because part of my job, a big part of the job is actually just to shut the fuck up.
Yeah, but for our I think you and I have similar brains in the fact that we do wander off a bit.
Totally.
Not in a bad, it's interesting.
Correct.
But I find it often, because I've got so many things that I'm thinking about when you're talking, I'll go, oh, that word reminds me of X, so therefore I'll start talking about that, because we're now just talking about what you listen to when you're reviewing your edit.
Yeah, but that's because we are fascinated.
It's important to be curious, I think.
We're students of life. And this is why I'm never bored, is that I'm interested in all, I just want to pull all the little strings of all the things I'm interested in and see what happens.
Yep.
And I go...
Yeah, that's something I really have seen evolve in you over the last probably 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
And I've had a bit of a lull in my buffet of life, being mostly a single dad half the week, every week, 2, 3 or 4 days a week. is, I sort of stopped that side of me because I've been focusing on, obviously, parenting.
It's a lot of work being done.
And full-time work. So you doing all that and doing this podcast has reminded me of my curiosity for things, and I really appreciate that because, like, talking to you always reminds me of that, and I'm like, well, fuck. It just gets me to do things that I've put off, or, like you said earlier, make excuses for, because it's much easier to make an excuse than to do it.
It is, mate.
Yeah.
And that's a big part of the way I choose to live my life, is I'm not trying to be an influencer as such. What I like to do is to remind people that you have choice. You might not feel like it, or you might not believe that you do based on your personal circumstances or your way of thinking, but ultimately you decide how your life will play out, and you can choose to be miserable, you can choose for your days to be difficult, or you can, even on the darkest days, you can look outside and you can go, you know, the wind's blowing, the trees are swaying, you know, the universe is bigger than me. You can get yourself out of your own head through work, and you can take the first step towards something. And the first step will be shit, as will the second and the third and the fourth and the fifth and the sixth and the seventh and the eighth and the ninth and the 10th. But what happens is, if you just keep doing it one after the other, that you actually change the way that your whole life unfolds, and you've still got all the problems. Like, I'm still fighting all the battles in every direction, in everything. I'm still fighting myself. I'm still, you know, nothing goes to plan. But I keep picking myself up and finding new reasons to put a smile on my face. And I hope, it is my ongoing hope, that people see that not in what I say, but in what I do.
Yeah,
and
that's the key thing.
Correct.
Right? You can say it all you like.
All you like.
Just like people who say they're going to change and
Correct.
never fucking do.
No.
It's constant frustration in relationships that I've had with that sort of thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna do that, or you need to do that, but then they don't do it.
No, correct.
Ever.
And people are their own worst enemy, and most of them don't do enough self-exploration to ever figure that out.
No, it is the whole awareness thing is a tough one.
It is.
You don't really get taught it. I never got taught it at school.
Shit, no.
I fucking
didn't even know it existed.
I don't think I ever knew about it until I. We'll probably save this for later in the chat potentially, but the whole journey I went on through yoga and teaching yoga was just starting to learn about what the fuck is awareness and what is working on yourself, and holy shit, there is literally something every week or day that I want to improve, or that I wasn't aware of about myself, or how I do things, or how I speak to someone, or how I parent, or there's just so much to learn, which is part of the joy of waking up in the morning. Is like, oh, I might choose to learn about this today, and I'm going to choose who I surround myself with today, because I don't have a boss as such in what I do. I work with my family, which has its pros and cons, of course, but mostly it's pros. I've gone off track again, sir.
Yeah, but it's what we do. We allow room for meandering conversation, and that was my whole point of my conversation before, was that you need to allow room in your life to let a bit of joy in. And if there's something you want to be doing, there will never be a good time. You'll never be able to afford it. It'll never be a good thing. But if it brings you joy, fucking hell, just do it. Like,
yeah.
I just can't say that loudly enough to people,
Yeah.
is that if there is something you want to be doing and you are not taking steps towards it, you are the problem.
Get on it.
Yeah.
get the fuck on it. I think my biggest problem that I've found is I don't know whether it's I don't allow myself to experience full joy, because I definitely grew up with... I love my mother, let me preface before I speak about my mother, but she grew up with... her dad died when she was 6 or 7, and he was only 50. So obviously I never knew. So she was raised by her mother, who's very English. Really loved my grandmother, actually. She was integral in my years up until she died in 2013. But, geez, I've gone off track again, haven't I?
I don't know, it's all right. So about your mum, yeah.
Oh, yeah, so she... I don't know, it's like that English thing where you bottle it up, you get on with things, and I'm sure they would have had to get on with things being a single mother and raising 2 daughters. My grandmother, she was a school teacher. Would have been fucking hard. So that obviously affected my mother, and she does the whole stiff upper lip thing, and she's really good for that, because she's like a rock in that respect, where it's fine, like it'll be fine, you're fine, to her detriment sometimes. Like, she doesn't express her emotions or how she feels, but she also doesn't seem to have like a wide range of feelings that I can see anyway.
No.
Like, it's solid.
Yeah.
I'm solid, I'm good.
Stoic, almost.
Yeah, kind of stoic, yeah. And I've probably part of the reason I've tried to taste from the buffet is what is it that brings me joy?
Correct.
And I don't know, like I haven't fully, I don't think I've found it yet. What gives me like immense joy, or maybe it's I'm not allowing myself to feel that.
And I think that that's very possible, and it's something that I am actually discovering as I have more of these conversations and I have more guests on the podcast. As I said earlier, off chatting with Michael Stansu and his father, how his father escaped Romania and came here by himself and said all that. Like, there's the generations before us, like that silent generation, and the people who, through World War II, back at World War I, like, mate, the world was pretty fucked.
Yeah.
Like, and was fucked in a whole different way. And where, we still remember the Cold War, we still remember, or maybe you just remember the tail end of it. But you think back to Cuban Missile Crisis, which, what was that? That was the end of the 60s. The whole planet was on a knife's edge, because they've obviously created the atomic bomb by that point, which was obviously dropped to be the end of World War II and did immense devastation in Japan. And then the Russians and the Americans went and stockpiled against each other, and then you had that lead up to the Cuban Missile Crisis, where it was quite literally brinkmanship, where you had the leaders of these two, and like they've both got nukes pointed at each other, and they're like, if you fire, we fire, we fire, you fire, kaboom, everything's over.
Well, that's, even if you don't recognise it consciously, that's got to affect you.
Because that was the news.
Yeah.
That was the news cycle. You think about because if it bleeds, it leads. It was exactly the same. You didn't have as much news, but what you were hearing was that these two superpowers are going to blow up the whole planet over their political ideals.
Yeah.
And I just can't... all the resources we used up, everything was spent, and off the back of World War II. And you think about... I'm actually far more sympathetic, having had so many of these conversations.
Oh, yeah.
As I look at people, going, oh, boomers got it so easy. I'm like, no, they fucking didn't. Like, their parents... Again, you go back that generation, everyone was just beaten and abused, and like...
Because of their trauma.
Because of their trauma.
Going through the wars.
Yeah. Oh.
And the amount of young men that...
that didn't come home.
Particularly Australia per capita.
Yep.
Like, we sent a fuck ton of people to die.
And
get injured.
The brothers, the fathers.
Well.
Yeah, absolutely. And then there were generations that came home that had the worst trauma,
they were just
worst
shattered
PTSD.
with no help, because no one knew what it was or how to deal with it.
No, with no help. The same way that we're discovering our, neuro stuff at this point, nobody knew what the fuck PTSD was. All the people that went to Vietnam then came home and got spat on.
Oh.
So, my wife's father, he was part of that as well.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, and they had, the fucking gases and things that they were doing at that time. They're all the nerve gases and these sorts of things. Like, it's never been good. It's just a different flavour of shit.
Yeah, there's certainly a very, very dark side to humanity that if you enter into it yourself, it can really suck you in. You can see why people have shit days and why people have major issues in their life.
Humans are a violent species.
Yeah.
We're not great. There's
you got to fight. You got to fight to be kind.
You do, because
sometimes, a lot of the time,
our default position. When you think what we were.
Well, if it's fight or flight.
And that's the thing, is we're hunter-gatherers.
Yeah.
Like, we were designed to hunt, kill, protect, but we now live in this very weird space where I'm going to have to pause because Sharpie's locked himself out. Hang on a sec. I'll just go and let him in. There we go, our guest producer, Mr. Daniel Sharp, coming through.
Berries.
With the beers.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Mate, that is a delightful... What day of the week is it? It's Thursday. Is it?
Thursday afternoon.
Yeah, Thursday at 2:30. That's not unreasonable.
Not at all.
It's when you're having them at breakfast. It's probably...
Well, you do it when you're camping. Obviously, that's acceptable.
But yes, the back of that last conversation was that... no wonder we have so much trouble because, we as people, in the last odd 100 years... But I just always go... I'm glad I wasn't here 500 years ago, 1,000 years ago.
Jesus.
Fuck, hell, like you think it's bad now.
Fucking shit show.
Jesus.
Middle Ages.
Oh.
Fuck that.
Absolutely. When the churches were in charge, wasn't it the Dark Ages, the 800 odd years? Imagine how far humanity would have been ahead if we weren't, if the spaghetti monsters hadn't told us everything's the devil for 800 years.
Yeah.
Because, human evolution just stopped for, nearly 1,000 years.
Yeah.
Because of the church.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Whoops. Yeah. We're pretty fucking stupid when you actually stop and think about it.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's the real problem. We all take ourselves so fucking seriously and we all think this shit matters. But it's like, you don't fucking matter. Like, nothing matters. Nothing we do matters. Everything's made up. It's all just fucking make-believe. And, we get so upset. And, same as everybody else, I'm still fucking, you got to figure out how to pay your bills and make sure shit gets done. And, I'm fighting all the same battles. But I continuously remind myself that everything's fucking pointless. And, we can be miserable through this bizarre journey. Or we can look for joy wherever we find it. And I find it in shitboxes, my friends, and sharing people's stories. Places that I've found it.
And your family. Can't forget them.
Mate, they're number one. Good save.
Hopefully your wife is listening to this.
No, she doesn't listen. As I said, mate, she listens to me every day.
She said she'll listen to this one.
Lies. Sorry, boss. But they are, in all seriousness, they're your number one priority. But outside of everything else, in terms of seeking fulfillment for me as an individual,
which you need to do,
and not me as a father or me as a husband or me as a good community member and all those other versions of me. But in man's search for meaning, you're born alone, you die alone. Inevitably, it's just you. Yeah. And I think that to be a better husband, better father, better friend, that
all enriches you anyway, so why not do it?
Correct, that internal search and that search for your own joy, because if you are not looking for that, if you never find that, you won't be a good father. No. You won't be a good role model, you won't be a good partner. Yep. Because if you're miserable, you'll just fucking plaster it under alcohol, gambling or something.
Well, I was going to say, you'll just
dopamine-inducing...
Jump into addiction anyway.
Correct. Yeah. You fill that void with something else. And I just don't, Yeah, don't see the point in that. But anyway, we've gone way off track. What we're going to do is we're going to jump back. Why did you choose
Podcast?
Yeah, mate, again, these are the things that I enjoy.
Well, same.
I enjoy exploring the human experience. And I think that we are lucky to live in a moment in time, a snapshot in human existence, where our lives are so good that we can have a beer and ponder existence on a Thursday afternoon.
Yeah, rather than fighting for our lives.
Correct.
And fighting for shelter and food.
Correct.
Because you're right, like the amount of things people complain about. I mean, my customers, for example, and 98% of them are great. But
absolutely.
There are people that are just fucking assholes.
Mate, per the 80-20 rule of life, like it just everything falls into that ratio.
Yeah.
You know, there's...
Yeah. Yeah. So, we'll jump back on track to your...
Because this is magical.
Yeah, it is.
And that's the thing, when you like zoom out and you look at human existence, you go, how cool is it that we get to do this?
Yeah.
And
so I would go back to what you said about, because you said, it's pointless.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I'd phrase it that way, because it is...
How would you phrase it, Chris?
Well, there is meaning in life, so you've got to find that meaning, and you said that. But I don't like saying it's pointless, because if you say it's pointless, it gives you an out to be an arsehole. Doesn't it?
I view it from
it's pointless.
the
what
other
I
direction.
do is pointless. So
well, it's pointless.
It doesn't matter if I rob you or...
I'd rather do it from a place of love, where my existence brings love and kindness to those that I interact with.
All right.
And I guess when I say that it's pointless, I say the things that we maximise and worry about, which are generally problems, bills, responsibilities. And again, I'm not saying that they are or they're not. I'm not listing them in a rank importance.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that in the scale of life,
they are pointless.
They are pointless.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
I just meant like morally and ethically, and I don't think that's pointless. Yeah.
No, I'm all down with morally and ethically. I'm all about having your own North Star and again, the lens through which you see the world.
Yeah, I think that's key. So
that's how I base all my friendships, is if I discover people don't sort of value honesty, integrity, very simple things.
See you later.
Yeah, they won't be people.
And if they don't have a 90s convertible or a relevant shitbox, then they
absolutely, or at least a desire. You don't even
a shitbox.
Absolutely.
Yep.
If you are just at one with the shitbox, if you see the shitbox and you go, oh yeah, that's
enough.
You don't actually have to.
I just wish I had more space, because
don't we all?
I only have a one car garage, and I park this car in the garage, and the other work car is on the street. But
I too only have one car space. I have
I've been waiting for you to get a warehouse or a giant property that I can.
I'm working on
store my other future shit boxes on.
Oh, I'm working on it.
Because I want to have like 15 vehicles.
Totally.
Maybe that's where my joy is.
Honestly, it's great.
I always wanted to be a mechanic in some ways.
Well, you can start now.
But not like for a job.
Oh, no, it's a terrible job.
Yeah.
A fucking nightmare. But it's really nice knowing how to do your own shit.
Yeah. It'd just be nice to have the time to sit there and do it all. And the space to do it.
Well, you find the time.
And a hoist.
The space.
I need a hoist.
There's one just behind you here, mate.
I can use that any time I want.
You can. You are allowed top secret access. This is a top secret members only space.
All right.
So this is not just for anyone. You've got to earn your way in here. Fuck, we're way off topic now. Finishing up because we're in the actual arc of the story, you were somewhere near the end of high school. I would love to know what made you choose to study law.
Legal studies was my best subject at school.
Really?
So in terms of performance, I think I was like 2 or 3 in the grade. Not that there was that, it was like 60 people or something. But the teacher I had was excellent. He was very complimentary to my skill in that area. My best mate, his dad was and still is a lawyer. And then our conjoined interest in legal studies was probably a big part of the reason. And then I kind of wanted to do something in the arts, like in drama, because drama was my next best subject. But being at an all boys school, drama was for.
Drama didn't get you a lot of street cred.
No,
in the 90s.
It was more frowned upon, particularly at that school.
It was not the pastime of the jock. It was, and I remember all this sort of stuff, like your stage crew and that sort of stuff. It was, it was all very.
That was actually the reason I never did any of the school plays, because I didn't want to be
ostracised,
called gay,
which is what people would do in the 90s.
Literally would call you gay, and many other words that we won't necessarily say right now. But yeah, anyway, off track again.
Yeah. But that was the slur, and that was the time. Is that it was not as considerate of an individual's feelings.
No, but you just rip on each other, and that's what you did. But which has moulded me in some good ways. But anyway, we
stopped you from pursuing your love of drama.
Yeah, which I've.
Did you enjoy the acting? Did you enjoy the character side?
Oh, I loved it.
What part of it?
Yeah.
Like the actual.
I just loved fucking around, because that whole subject, and good mate of ours, Drew, could attest to this. He was in my class. We just fucked around.
Yeah.
Like, you could just have fun, be silly. It's kind of like adult play in a sense.
You could just express yourself.
Yeah, and just
develop characters.
And through characters, you can engage in that ridiculousness, I guess. And
what do you think this is, mate?
Well, yeah,
this is character.
It is.
Like the guy who sits here, you would know, because you know me well enough, to go, this is a different variation of the me that you see in other circumstances.
Yeah, well, it's another part of you. Yeah.
Exactly. And
it's not like you're being someone different, but it's...
but you mould a caricature of yourself
to make it work,
so that you can slip into that mode for that job.
Yeah, definitely.
Which is kind of cool.
Definitely. I mean... Only recently, 2 years ago or a bit less, I got back into some. Started doing improv.
Actually, that's right. I remember that.
Yeah. Because I was just googling on what's some club on Facebook that I'm a part of, like Dad's Club. It's like a worldwide club.
Yeah.
I was just googling, I was searching on that group, activities if you're bored, and because. The times I don't have my daughter, I feel like I have so much time. So I'm want to engage in how my brain works. I want to do things apart from just sculling beers at home.
We'll get you coming in spinning spanners on the SL.
Yeah.
Breaking things.
Well, just want to fix the roof, the convertible. Where was I?
Oh, shit, I don't know. I've lost it too. We were trying to understand law, and then we got onto drama.
Improv, yeah. Improv. Doing a bit of that. But because you wanted to talk about the buffet tasting.
Yeah, I do.
Improv's great. It's
so what's improv for the uninitiated?
Improv is you don't have to intend for it to be funny.
Right.
You just do it. And then often it is funny because it's so unscripted and
so give me an example. Improv me.
You would just start doing anything. Like I come in, I start kicking a ball around, and then I'll call you across. Like I'll point at you and just say come, and then you'll join the scene, and then you might start kicking the ball back to me, and I'll go, hey Ronaldo, how are you today, man? Like, are you ready for this game, brother? And you'll be like, yeah man, I'm so pumped, I've been training super hard. It's a big match against the Demons today, and then you just make shit up. It's good for your brain.
That's very creative work, isn't it? Just making shit up on the fly.
It's
within developing a whole character in a scene on the fly.
That's
fun.
It's scary. It's
well, it would be.
It was probably more scary in front of your classmates.
Yeah,
because you do scene work, and it's like, all right, you come up, and then she might say, okay. Sometimes she'd give you a prompt like, your two colleagues go,
and that's it.
That's it.
You're like,
or something starting with S, just like shit like that, or it might be just go.
And is there
give me something.
Is there an end goal in doing those improv classes? Like, what's the?
I think the end goal is it depends who the person is, but it's fun. It's a lot of people do it as a weekly hobby. There's a lot of people there that do it weekly, and they do shows to the public. They have, I think, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday night shit going on. Like,
really?
Some people do stand-up, some people do musical, improv. There's all sorts of stuff. I didn't want to commit to the weekly type stuff or pursue it that much further. I just sort of dabbled in it. But
just wanted to try it.
Wanted to try it. I liked it, but...
Yeah, served its purpose.
Yeah, I think I did 2 lots of 6-week courses.
Okay, and that was enough for you to go, I feel like I've sampled.
That was enough for me at that time. I may go back, but who knows? So, but yeah.
All right, so you're studying law, and you chose law because you had a good experience and a good teacher, and then you had a friend who also had links into, and so that made sense. And why Townsville? It's not generally the first choice of a Brisbane boy.
It all came down to OP.
As it tends to.
And I think UQ was an OP2 entry point. QT was an OP5. My friend and I both got OP9s.
Which is still not terrible.
That's not terrible. I certainly didn't apply myself as much as I could have, as everybody could probably attest to.
Mate, OP14 over here.
Fucking dead shit.
Yeah, no, that's what everybody told me, mate. That's what I heard over and over again.
Funnily enough, OP14 was the cut-off in Townsville.
Was it?
Yeah.
So I could have gone and done law.
You could have gone and done law.
Fuck.
Yeah. Not that it makes you a better person or smarter because you do law, but it's a useful degree to have, and I don't regret it.
Useful that the bar was so low there.
Yeah. Yeah, well, no one wanted to fucking go there, but that was a pretty big decision. I literally turned 17 2 days before school finished. So I'm a November boy, and
wow.
My mate was actually 2 weeks younger than me, so he was 17 just after school. Then we both got our licences, I think, the day we could get it, which was the style at the time.
Of course, I did the same thing.
Yeah.
Like the day.
Oh, man, I was pumped to get it. So I could join the other boys. I used to be a passenger for most of grade 12, and nice to finally get your own wheels and your own freedom.
It's a big moment.
It is.
Big moment in a young man's life.
Yeah. I don't know if it is as much these days, but...
Yeah, don't know.
I'm not across that, but...
We're too old for that.
Too old to know people who are 17. Unless you have a child that's 17. We were thankfully not dads that young.
No.
So yeah, we applied to, I think, James Cook as our first preference, and we're both accepted. I think our second preference... We aligned all our preferences. I don't think our second preference was something like, we'll go to QT and we'll just fucking do arts if you don't get into James Cook.
Just upgrade do your 12 months.
Yeah. But then we thought, oh, fuck it, like, let's just get it done. Which in some ways was great, but in some ways I probably would advise my own child to have a gap year as such, or just, unless she wants to go into uni.
Straight into it.
Yeah, it was the style at the time.
Yeah, mate, it was. The gap year was not really...
Well, no.
It was
I think I've heard you talk about that.
Definitely.
With Kat, maybe.
Yeah.
But it was not the style to have a gap year.
No.
You were seen as a fucking deadbeat.
Yeah, big dead shit.
Yeah, and you were probably going to end up in doing a fucking Bachelor of Arts. No offence to all the people out there that have a Bachelor of Arts, but... Yeah, at the time it was try and do something professional. I think I would have liked to have done a trade if I was to go back, but That
was also not the style of the time,
it was not. No, you were also
coming
a
out of a
loser if you did
private
that.
school.
Yeah. We saved the trades to the public schools.
Absolutely, and that's why they all now make more money than us.
Mate, I literally, a lot of the people that work with us and our business, they all make fucking 3 times as much as I do.
Absolutely.
The tradies.
Oh, absolutely, because there was like 20 years of us that were all told to go to uni,
Yeah.
and that it was no good to go and work with your hands.
Yeah.
And that advice was wrong,
It was. Yeah.
because that was the only thing I was good at, was working with my hands.
Yeah.
And
Funny
in
that.
grade 9 or grade 10...
Go into
or whatever it
marketing, they
was-
said.
Oh, it wasn't even that, mate. That was a fucking accident.
Yeah.
I just realised I was good at spinning bullshit, and then I realised that you could turn that into a job. And like, yeah, being professionally full of shit is called marketing.
Yep.
Like, which is astonishing. Yeah, that's just a fucking happy accident, mate. But this isn't my story. This is your story. At James Cook, what was that like when you got there? When you rocked up in Townsville?
Pretty daunting.
I'll bet.
How
was the Ville back then? Was it
mate.
still a big military base at that time, or was that...
Yeah, very much so. I mean, we couldn't go out because we were 17 still most of that year. So, I mean, we did a couple of times, but...
Would have felt like the Wild West, I reckon.
It was,
in comparison,
mate.
in 00, because again, we're talking pre-Facebook.
It was a lot of smoking durries. It was a lot of heavy drinking culture. Mm-hmm. I think the first day there was a fresher, they called them kind of like freshmen in the US, but fresher keg parties where...
Sounds great.
We would fill... Yeah, it was fucking legendary.
Good time.
Mate, I still remember them.
Yeah.
We'd fill a giant bin, put obviously fresh garbage bags in it so that it wasn't
As feral.
fucking filthy. As feral. And then we'd fill it with copious amounts of fruity Lexia, one of the finest 4-litre cascoons.
Which you could get for under $10.
Yeah, at the time it was like fucking $9, I think.
$9, yeah, for 4 litres, so you'd be blitzed.
We'd chuck Lambrusca in there.
Yeah.
We'd chuck in
Jungle juice.
Yeah,
Hey.
mate, with lemonade, fucking whatever. Then they'd have this Nikov stuff, which was like orange. I don't know what the fuck it was. It was horrible, and it was.
It was the cheapest.
Mate, it was probably 15%. It would fuck you up. But they'd make us. They'd say, "All right, fresher skull," and then on your knees, and we'd all get on our knees and fucking. Then one of the seniors would come by with this Nikov orange shit and make you, like, just
Skull grog.
yeah, just skull it. Just get fucked up.
And again, think about that in the context of the year 2024. If you were making people do that, get on their knees and skull grog, holy fuck, everybody's going to jail.
Pretty much.
Wow.
So that was fun. I'm glad I got to experience that before everything got a bit too woke. I don't have any regrets.
No. And here's the problem. That's the thing is, as was the style at the time when we wore an onion on our belt, these things were supposed to be harmless rites of passage that, weren't necessarily the finest way to live your life.
No.
But there was a bonding experience that was supposed to be part of it.
Yeah.
Much like your military training where they break you down to build you back up again.
Pretty much.
Same philosophy.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was sort of initial times there.
Classic.
And then,
So getting lit in Townsville.
yeah, and there was lots of different types of people there. Some, locals, country people, American students that came because Townsville was close to Barrier Reef and Whitsundays and Magnetic Island and areas that they could travel to, and there were quite a lot of marine biologists from the States that they came to study at Townsville.
Yeah, right. Well, I guess, back before the Barrier Reef got nuked, that was a good place to study.
Yeah. There was even a guy doing his masters there that I went to visit in New Orleans a few years ago. Still on my Facebook, so there was one good connection to make there. I just got to see New Orleans and his hometown.
See, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, so I don't have a lot of mates from that time, but because it was only 1 year that we ended up being there to upgrade to come back to Brisbane.
Because who was that? Was that Brown or is that
Davo?
Oh, it was Dave.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, and Davo's doing very well.
Oh, mate, he's
these days, but
over on the other side of the planet.
He's living in Dubai, but
yeah, correct.
I don't get to see him. I haven't seen him in the last couple of years.
No.
But, spoken to him a little bit, but not much.
No. Well, he lives a totally other life now, doesn't he?
Yeah. He's got a young daughter now.
Yeah. See, that's how far out of it I am.
Yeah, well, he was more in our group.
Yeah. But see,
Same
with
age,
the
but-
with the lawyers, he was helping me in the early days,
Yes.
in the waybacks,
Yes.
until he moved overseas.
True. True, and then he found there's better ways to make money.
Absolutely.
So he's smart. He's just done it the right way.
Yeah, correct. But what he sacrificed, I guess, is the different things here and the the friendships he had to go and start again. And
He's very good at making up friends. But
yeah,
not that this podcast is about him, but
no, we can throw him in there. This is a joy, mate. It's meandering pointlessness,
yeah.
much like our lives.
But that year, mate, I don't know how I passed.
Anything?
Oh, didn't go to really any lectures.
Yeah.
I think I went to one, like the whole year.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's good.
I went to the tutorials because they were compulsory. I'd go to half of them. I'd go to 5 out of 10 to get a 5 out of 10 mark. And then I would cram. But, mate, the second semester was just like smoking bongs. Up to 7 times a day.
Classic. 90s OO's uni
Oh,
experience.
my God.
Snoop Dogg in the
I
background.
was never, like, mad into weed.
Yeah.
I'd smoke it occasionally, but some of my mates there were really into it. And then I just went down that rabbit hole of just smoking a lot of weed
So, mate, hang around the
4 or
barber
5
shop.
months.
You're
and
going to
then-
get a haircut.
Yeah. And I said, all right, boys, exam block's coming up. I'm off the weed. Like, I need to actually
Absolutely.
not have to stay in Townsville another year.
Yeah.
So, I guess I credit that to Churchy, my father. Just, look, you got to fucking, at some point, you got to pull your fucking head in.
Yeah, absolutely.
And knuckle down.
And go, you can be a dickhead for a bit, but
Yeah.
you got to know when to call it.
Yeah. So the call was made, and I managed to pass everything. And
Well done. And get yourself, so you came back to Brisbane, so you only did,
Yep.
is that what happened next?
Yeah. Got by the end of the year was an OP2.
Yeah, nice.
So then,
Did you go straight to the Sandstone University?
no, QT.
QT. Went to the number
and,
2 university. Did people make fun of you for that? I'm
To
interested
QT?
to remember. Was
Mate,
it still as
I don't know.
tiered as it was?
I never went.
Really?
I was working full time. I was doing tutorials at QT at night. So I was not a part of any culture there.
So you missed all that?
I missed it all.
Oh,
Missed it all. I don't know. I was like, I had my own mates. Like, I
yeah,
didn't.
just did your thing, kept your head down.
Yeah, I wasn't interested in making friends at uni. I just did my thing. I wanted to get through it.
How many years did that take there?
It was another 3.5, because I failed a couple of subjects. I ended up doing an extra 6 months on the end. So I graduated in early 2007, so it took me, I was QT for 3.5 years.
Yeah.
So 4.5 total for that bachelor. Yeah.
Big exercise.
Yeah. Well, most degrees are 3 or 4 years, I guess.
Yeah.
And then after that you do a postgraduate in legal practice while working in as like a junior. I think I was back then, whatever, I don't know what the fuck they call it, graduate lawyer or something
And
back then.
that's full slave labour
Fuck shit.
in the mines
Shit.
type job. That's
So
from
shit.
anybody I know who's walked that path.
Horrible.
You think your keg party initiations are bad. Wait till you start as a junior in a law firm.
Mate, it was... I had kind of a bit of the opposite problem to a lot of people, where some people had too much work to do. I didn't have enough to do.
Really?
Yeah.
Isn't that funny?
I was trying to get someone to fucking mentor me properly. Because I'd come from underneath my dad for many years, who would mentor me, albeit not perfectly, but
Do his best.
he'd do his best and he'd have time to teach me things, whereas they didn't have the time. They were too busy.
Yeah, well, that's it.
And I just ended up doing pointless shit for the first job I had, which was in an inner city firm.
So what were you doing? What did you have to do?
Mate, half the time I was just researching things and providing memorandums to the solicitors, or just doing like pretty, motor vehicle accident claims and Just pretty basic shit, like nothing that interesting.
I was waiting for you to tell me you were like photocopying your ass or something.
Nothing good. But I ended up at that place getting the shits because they didn't want to train me properly, and then they got angry at me when I didn't do something properly.
Yeah, okay, you haven't showed me, but you expect me to.
That's what I said to the guy. I said, look, I'm not a child. Don't speak to me or scream at me like I am one. Mate, you fucking hated that, and I was fired the next week.
Yeah.
Because the amount of ego, I don't know if it's the same in the law today. I'm probably sure it partly is.
Sure, it's exactly the same.
Just fucking cockheads.
And then to have a young bloke, to have the gall to speak to him like that, doesn't he know who I am? It's like, fuck off, mate.
Yeah. I was like, mate, if you're not going to give me any indication of how to do this, because at university you learn not that much about actual practicing.
No, I think uni, like, unless you're doing a specific thing, it sort of just teaches, you learn how to learn. I thought was the main thing that I got out of it.
Yeah.
Was how to think
that's
bigger,
a good point, actually.
And how to research and how to extrapolate an idea and present an idea. That's probably the main thing I personally got from it. Everything else I don't even fucking remember. I don't remember anything.
That's pretty much it. And then how to like look up case material or where things are. And,
correct.
And then just how to formulate how you write something, I suppose.
Just basic logistics. Everything else you learn on the job.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was frustrating for me because I was very eager.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, well, you wanted to have a go. You've done all this study and you're like...
Yeah, because
let's go.
I said to Dad, I was like, I don't know if I really want to go and do it. Because I'd finished the degree. He's like, go and try it. Like,
see what you think.
See what you reckon. And I spent about... I did my graduate diploma in legal prac that I needed to get admitted to the Supreme Court of Queensland as a lawyer. I did that at that inner city firm.
Is that a big moment? Like, what's that feel like when you...
Oh, mate, I've still got it on my wall.
When you become the real legal guy.
I'm very proud of it still, to this day.
It's a shit ton of work.
It's just it's a good achievement.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not that I use it a huge amount these days, but it's just a cool thing.
No, absolutely. And it would help, considering how many times a day we have to sign our life away on shit. I'm sure it doesn't hurt having that inbuilt knowledge as you discuss things.
It's good having some knowledge to know that if people make threats to you, that there are things that you can do, and it's like, well, I don't actually need to engage a lawyer for this.
No.
Because I can do it myself.
Yeah, here's one I prepared earlier.
I'll see you there.
Dickhead.
Yeah. Which gives you a certain amount of confidence.
Yeah, well, it does. It helps. And do you know what we need now? We need to engage Mr. Sharp because I don't know if you've noticed, buddy, it's low tide here.
Oh, low tide, yes.
Thank you. Mate, he's a good producer.
He is a good producer.
He's done a great job.
Is there? Can I take a quick break for a
absolutely
toilet visit?
Mate, you go.
Is that all right?
You have to go next door and
go
see
my mate?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, where were we up to? We'll try and pull this back into line. I can't even remember. Law, and you finished. You left that job because you told the old mate to go fuck himself. All right. So jumping back into that conversation.
That was a good day actually.
That was a good day. Tell me about that.
Well, it wasn't that good. So on the way home, after I got fired, they locked me out of the computer. Said I had ties and jackets and stuff. Oh, we'll send them all in a box to your house. Basically, it's like, what the fuck? Like, what am I going to steal? And then on the way home, because I used to live at South Bank, across the river, I worked in the city. I'd walk to and from work, which was like the only good time of the day. Someone spat a fucking giant golly on me from a bus, and it landed on my neck.
Oh, no.
Still remember it. And I went home and had a shower. I was like, fucking hell. Like, fucking pricks. Like, I was so fucking angry.
Well, that's a pretty shit day.
Yeah, I mean, I probably could have tried to get at them for wrongful termination, but they're lawyers.
Yeah,
so
they'll beat you.
Why bother? But, anyway, that was pretty... Everyone used to call that place Misery and Anguish. And that wasn't, so it wasn't just me, it was, everyone was like, this place fucking sucks. Like, it's shit. And the people were just getting fucking worked to the bone. The people that were solicitors, like junior solicitors. But yeah, left there and went to sole practitioner on the Gold Coast, actually. And yeah, that didn't last too long. We got along well, and he said he would have kept me on, but the GFC hit pretty hard, and
Yes. Not a great time.
yeah, he needed help, but I wasn't at a level where I could help him properly.
No, because you were still learning.
Yeah, and I needed him to teach me, and he
Correct.
just didn't have time.
No.
Again, so I
'Cause
was
he'd just
literally
be-
encountered with the same fucking problem. Like,
Again.
what the fuck? Like, so many people I speak to have too much work to do, and I can't get fucking enough. I want to be useful. I want to learn. I'm here to fucking learn. And then I just went, oh my God. So from that one, I went to one in Springwood after that. And the boss there was like fucking real weirdo. Place was full of really odd people. And the firm's specialty was sexual offences for defending criminals. That was the specialty. So I had a bit of a glimpse into that and went, yeah, fucking no.
No.
Yeah, like sitting in a meeting with a guy who'd like felt up a 12-year-old. I'm like, yeah, I'd like to be on the prosecution side of this, not on the defence side, frankly. And yes, there's a place for defence lawyers, and if any defence lawyers are listening to this,
Yeah.
they are important, but not my jam.
No, it wasn't your jam, and that's the thing is where people are wrongfully accused of things, where that stuff is weaponised.
That's right. And you
that's
need
the
a
thing.
good defence lawyer,
Absolutely.
100%.
Whereas if you've done the wrong thing, then you fucking deserve what's coming.
Yeah.
And
It's just the people that, like, they definitely did it.
yeah,
And
that's bad. Like,
and when you have to help them, it's like, well,
and you're
that's
trying to help them get off, and you're
shit.
there going, "This doesn't." I do not like the cut of your jib.
Yeah. As long as I defend this person and don't lie, that's what I've got to do. I've got to try and help them get a better sentence or even get them off if I can, as long as I'm not lying. Like from what the clients told me. If the clients told me they did it, I can... I mean, forgive me if I'm wrong, I don't exactly remember everything, but I think you could sort of... You didn't have to tell anyone they did it, but you could defend them in a way to go around that, like to sort of circle around a lie, but not necessarily lie.
Yeah,
That's kind of the nature of the law, right? You twist it to suit your
that's
purpose.
it. You're trying to read the between the lines and trying to find the.
Yeah. So that... and I ended up doing like business development at the same time as I was trying to do law at that firm because they needed to improve their clients coming in, and they'd seen I'd had sales and business development experience. That was a shit show.
That sounds horrible. So it's like
It fucking sucked.
Are you a sex offender? Come on down.
Well,
Like, this
no,
is-
it wasn't just that. Like we used to
Far
do like property conveyances and
Yeah,
stuff. So I
okay.
wasn't.
That's
I
less
wasn't
bad.
promoting the sexual offences
That's
side. But.
this feels like what's old mate from Breaking Bad who got his old spin-off.
Better Call Saul.
Yeah,
It's a good series.
yeah. It feels something like that.
No, I never promoted that side of the
all
business,
good, man.
thankfully.
Yeah,
But
wow.
the criminal side was doing well, and the other sides of the business weren't.
Yeah, okay.
So the theory was I could do both, which I just wanted a job at that time.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I'll take anything.
Whatever.
I'll take anything in the law because I'm trying to... This is the third firm I'd been at in like a 2-year period. So it's like, man, just fucking give me something to do. Like,
Yeah.
teach me properly. Anyway, I was probably too young as well at the time. Like, I was 22, 21. Pretty immature. Anyway, at that time, I was like, man, fuck this is shit. Like, I'll just go back and work with my old man and at least he's teaching me business, and
shows me
I'm
stuff.
learning different things and meeting customers, and I have autonomy and a lot more autonomy anyway. And I thought I'll do that.
Absolutely.
So I went back in 2009, and then
A little chirpy out the front.
nice little chirpy.
Yeah.
And then from there, I stayed there a couple of years, and Dad and I had a few disagreements as to how things should be done, and I was 25-ish, and I went, go fuck yourself, and
As is the young bull
started to do a few other
locking
things.
horns with the old bull,
Yeah,
as does tend to happen.
yeah.
I remember having those fisticuffs with my dad.
It's all part of the passage, I suppose.
Yeah, it is. Until you realise that you go, oh, fuck, they do know a few things.
They do, yeah.
Not all of it, but
I thought I knew a lot more back then, whereas now I think I'm a bit more aware of things.
and I must say I meet fellas in their early 20s who think they've got it all together.
Yeah, that was me.
And I'm like, and you do, and you laugh, and you think about people and, our bosses at that stage looking at us going, you fucking morons have no idea what's coming.
Yeah.
Because you don't understand it at the time.
Bless you, young man.
Yeah, absolutely. Bless your fucking...
Ignorance is bliss, I
youthful
guess.
ignorance, you fucking moron. You have no idea. And you just don't. And you don't have any idea until you've actually lived through, a few of the shit shows.
It's true.
Which is brutal. Because, you see the youthful exuberance and you go, that'll get knocked out of you. Ooh.
Oof. Spicy.
Yeah. Tough take, but quite accurate, I think.
Mate, at that time, I went over to Ukraine a couple of times at that time, and which was unheard of back then. Like, I didn't know anyone who went to Ukraine back then, but I'd met a girl and I was going over there a couple of times, and she came here, and it was a bit of a wild period.
Sounds like a bloody wild time, mate.
That's probably a story for another day. But then I met.
I was going to say that one obviously didn't pan out.
No. She's anyway. I met someone through work just before I left, who I was already into yoga. Probably in 2011, I think I started to dabble in it with my sister initially. Hot yoga was like our jam.
Oh, yeah. I remember that being all the rage too.
Yeah. And I liked the feeling of sweating, and then like all the stretching was like feels really good, and then you come out and you're like, I feel fucking amazing.
Yeah, you feel super relaxed.
It's like I've had a fucking sauna, and I've worked out
all at once,
and it sort of ticked a few boxes. At Kangaroo Point, we used to go there, and
would they do the meditation stuff at the end as well? Would they do that? Or would they do guided stuff?
It really depends on the teacher and the studio, but some would do like the, take a deep breath in, and then you do Om, like that was sort of the standard thing to close out the practice, and then everyone, you don't have to do it, but it's like a resonating sound amongst the class, which was quite nice, I guess.
I only say I've done a bit of yoga myself. I know it wouldn't seem obvious, but I used to fall asleep. They'd do like a guided meditation at the end, and I would fucking be like, they're doing these ones. I'd be
well, that is how you finish the classes in that
magic
corpse pose, right? The Shavasana.
So much calm.
Yeah,
I'd never experienced such calm.
It's good shit.
With a racing mind.
I'm gonna get back into it. It's been a while.
Hot and spicy yoga, going there with your KFC. And
I don't think I'm into hot anymore.
no, cool yoga now.
But yeah, I met a girl through where I work again now with my dad. But met a girl. We were both into yoga. I did my teacher training.
Because, yeah, this is what I think is fascinating, is not only did you do yoga, like you did yoga.
I was just...
You went all the way in.
I was doing a lot of stuff in fucking ton of reading. Power of Now, like Eckhart Tolle.
Which is good chat, by the way. I've read that book and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's good shit. It stands true.
Starting to look inside. Again, search for meaning. Because you're trying all these things that you've been told you're supposed to do, and you go, this is shit, and that's shit, and that shit, and that shit, and that shit, and you go, this brochure I was given at private school where I was like, just tick the boxes and then you're fucking winning, and you get there and you're like, what a shit show.
Yeah. Yeah, because you're not working on yourself internally.
Correct. Chasing external validation and the approval of others. Would you believe it? That's very shallow.
Yeah.
And very hollow victories.
Yeah, it really is. And yoga's good for that kind of internal journey.
Yeah.
Even though it's been bastardised here by a lot of studios like this and gyms. The gyms are the fucking worst for the yoga. But if you want the proper yoga experience, you should go to a yoga studio, not a yoga and Pilates and a gym. Like, you should go to a yoga studio.
Yoga Pilates.
Yeah, no, they try and do too many things. You need a balance of like.
How do you find a good yoga studio, Chris? If you were to observe,
I couldn't tell you now, but
studios, what are you looking for?
It's got to be like dimish lighting, calming, not overly spiritual, but some elements of spirituality and the sort of original teachings of yoga from India. And some of that, like philosophy inbuilt, and proper knowledge of the poses and what they do, and just a bit of a balanced approach rather than like, hey, let's go fucking hard. And because I taught at gyms, and they just didn't get it.
You don't want F45 style fitness first yoga where they're just slapping it in and churning them through.
Yeah, I mean, they just wanted a workout. Like, they weren't sort of that interested in... And I had lots of people walk out in Shavasana at the end, because particularly at gyms, because they just found it really weird or uncomfortable.
Well, that's it. Or they haven't looked inside. They're too busy chasing the...
Yeah, no, I get it. Like,
it's not for everyone.
It's fine.
It's a personal journey.
Yeah, so I had to adapt how I taught in different places.
That's interesting.
Yeah, maybe I shouldn't have, but...
No, just go, fuck yeah, own it.
Eventually I did. I sort of just went, look, fuck it, these are the things I like.
Yeah, this is what I think is important in yoga, and I would like to share that with you.
Yeah.
And if you don't like it, then you can fuck off.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So,
but I think that's important. Like, the bits that you think are important, and the tradition and the understanding and the experience, because from everything I've read about and done and studied... in yoga, that's the journey. It is understanding yourself and getting in tune with yourself.
I used to say we may be in a room of 10, 20, 30 people, 40 people, 50 people. It's your practice. Your practice, not anyone else's here. It doesn't fucking matter if you do the pose well or if it's like the person next to you or like mine or... I mean, shit. Like, I want you to do it for you, not for any other reason. Like,
don't compare.
That was the whole thing. Like, don't compare. Just go through.
More flexible, or they can touch
Who
their
gives a
toes
shit?
and you can't.
Don't care. Like, I couldn't do half the poses anyway. Doesn't really make a difference to how I teach, because I would walk through and talk a lot
and assist and explain.
Yeah, and I didn't do a huge amount of demonstrating. I did a little bit, but. I mean, I couldn't do headstands well or handstands that well or some of the super flexible poses that women's bodies are usually better at getting into than men. It didn't really matter.
No.
Because...
Well, again, you were passing on the knowledge and the experience, and again, you were just the facilitator of the experience.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And each person will get something different out of the class.
Totally.
So this girl and I, we ended up creating a studio, which is still going to this day. I won't name it, but I don't know how it's doing. I haven't been there I haven't taught there since 2017, I think it was. Yeah, geez, it's been a while. But yeah, we started that from nothing. Painted everything, built it up. She was very good at marketing. And I did probably half the classes. Yeah. I taught them. And got to know like people in the community, and it was cool. Like it was a good experience. We weren't making enough money. I was poor, like the poorest I'd ever been because we always grew up middle class, and what Dad paid me was always like reasonable, not huge amount, but was never really wanting.
Yeah, you weren't scraping the bottom.
No.
Whereas this was proper. I'm going to try it. I'm going to try it myself and go, ouch, this burns pretty bad.
I wasn't trying to be poor. I was just trying to
start a business.
Just trying to do something different. I was pretty sick of fucking sales, and just wanted to find something a bit more search for meaningful, and
it spoke to you.
Yeah, and then we did it, and a lot of people got into it, and there were so many like cool teachers and so many fucking shit ones, and people that are just so far up their own fucking ass with their egos that were so un-yogic and so unkind as people that they just didn't belong there. No. And just so full of shit, which really annoyed me.
They shouldn't be teaching, and they're the sort of people that are often, sort of laugh about, all the fucking coaches coaching coaches. Everybody's a fucking expert, and go, if you're such an expert, I don't understand why you're peddling your courses.
Totally.
And there's just that same thing across almost everything. There's the ones that are just good showboaters.
Yeah, that's the people really grinded my gears. Like, they would just talk utter shit and to customers and clients, and then like flirt with clients, and that was always off limits for me. Like, you get some good looking women coming to yoga, or men. I'm into women, but if you're a female teacher, but it was just not right. Like,
no, well, it's a professional boundary. Like, you're there as a professional.
And it's inappropriate.
Totally, terribly inappropriate.
You can hook up with another teacher if you want, but
but as the lead educator, lead facilitator, you're in a position of power over that group, and it is irresponsible.
I thought so.
To exert your position of power over that group.
Totally.
In that way.
It always felt wrong to me.
Yeah.
And I saw it happen many times, but
again, that's just immaturity and ego, which again, the true yogi.
It just became a bastardised version of what I thought yoga should be.
Yeah, which is a shame.
And a corporate version, or like what we think people want in society. And it's just, I don't know, I got a bit disenfranchised with it after a while, just from the teachers and people I knew. I was like, man,
because you're not being true to yourself.
Yeah.
As I said, it's the same. And even here, when I've got somebody going, oh, you should do this and you should do that, and I'm like, nah.
Yeah.
Because you've got to be true to yourself, because the moment you start doing things for other people, everything just veers off track.
Yeah.
Is what I've come to discover.
Yeah.
Is if it's not true to your own purpose, it's no longer yours, and then eventually you fall out of love with it. And
I just, and after teaching at like all these different places, you'd have different owners that had different agendas, and I just became totally over it.
Yeah.
And I lost my love of practicing.
Which is sad.
And I haven't practiced in 6 years, like almost at all.
Might be time.
Almost at all. It's almost time. Like I've looked at timetables.
There's enough distance.
We're getting there. I've been to a couple of classes in the last year, but
haven't found one that's hit the mark.
Yeah.
What do they say, mate? When the student is ready, the teacher will appear.
Yeah.
Maybe the student is not ready yet.
Yeah, and I'm not going to force myself to go back, but
no.
I may never. Who knows? But I think it's worth dabbling in it again. But
maybe you should try the yoga ladies.
Yoga, no. No,
No? Not for you?
probably not. Probably not, but yeah, it was certainly a good journey. I mean, I met the mother of my child through yoga, who worked at the studio. We're not together now, but obviously very grateful for her. And
Absolutely, and you two co-parent beautifully, and you know your daughter is a mate. She's a treasure, and again, I think that the way you work as a father is a true credit to you and the man that you are today. I think that it's exceptional. So
it's kind of hard to hear those sort of things from other people, but
sure
appreciate it.
That's why I say to other people, I'm very proud of you, Chris. But that's part of why you're here today, is that I've watched your journey and I've watched you fight against what you're supposed to do a lot and go, I don't think that this is everything I'm supposed to do. I think there's more. And I see that this rolling journey that you're on, where you are, you've picked up so many skills, and you've become a man that again is ready to be present as a good father, and to put your daughter's well-being and the mother of your child as well, and to be there and to be supportive. Because again, imagine 22-year-old or hot-headed 24 or 25-year-old Chris as compared to the Chris we have here today.
Honestly, like
the way that you would tackle the situation, imagine like how chalk and cheese.
it's crazy to think of.
Yeah.
I'm very grateful to myself for taking the journey and into doing different things, and not just staying in the family business for the sake of it. And also, I'm actually really, really grateful to the mother of my child, who taught me a fucking shit ton.
Yeah.
Still does, but I definitely learnt the hard way.
Always. I'm all about that. I went fucking head first into the fire.
Yeah.
We're not smart men, Chris. We're just persistent.
I just wasn't aware. Like,
No.
I don't know if you've heard of Johari's window, but it's a...
Far away. Teach me. I've heard of it.
It's a thing from psychology where there's like... I forget how it is, but there's 4 windows and there's like a cross in the middle separating the windows, right? And it's like, 1, things that we're consciously aware of, and 2, things that we're somewhat aware of, and 3, whatever. But the main one is what others see, but that we're completely blind to. It's like the blind spot in the window.
Gotcha.
It's like fucking black. You can't see shit.
Can't see it. Yep.
And then you see it and you're like, fuck, really? That's what I was fucking like? And that's what I did? And that's how I acted? That's fucked. And I'm probably a bit like you. I just want to keep getting better. Like, I just want to be a better dad. Like, that's my major motivation. And I want to be better at what I do, and I want to have more fun and enjoyment, and like, with all the camping trips that we go on, they're fucking great.
Be kind, share kindness.
Yeah, and
Be a good human.
develop community, and
Yeah. Be good to each other. Lift each other up.
yeah,
Like real simple
yeah,
things.
yeah,
Because and I think that's something that I also see in you, is that, I was a real fuckwit in my younger
your fellow
years.
fuckwit. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. I was horrible to everyone, and I was horrible to everyone because I thought that this is what you have to do to get ahead, is you have to, push everything else out of the way, walk over everybody else, and just put yourself first in what inevitably is just, like, you reflect on it, you go, that was fucking selfish. But simultaneously, I go, if I hadn't have done those things, I wouldn't have been able to get the opportunities that I got. And you go, fuck, that's some pretty rough double-edged sword. Because you look at the damage that you do through things, and then you go, whew, but if I hadn't have done those, I wouldn't have got that opportunity. But then I also wouldn't have learned.
I mean, it's really hard to teach. Like, the mistakes that you make, you can't really teach those to your kids. Like, you just... The way I see it is Hamish Blake, who's, Hamish and Andy, He's got that Dad's podcast, and it's How Other Dads Dad. If anyone wants to check it out, it's pretty good. If you're a dad, particularly. But he said, the way I see it with my 2 children is I am like a Sherpa. I'm there, like if they fall or if they need guidance or to, like I'm always here with you, but I've got to watch you, like fall, make mistakes, learn. I can only guide you. Correct. I can't live your life, which is going to be fucking hard for me to apply as my daughter gets older, I'm sure. But
absolutely.
That's the goal in the back of my mind, anyway, to do that.
Well, you can only open the door. They have to walk through, and that's the whole...
It's going to be really hard to watch.
Oh, I'm already finding it hard at 9 years old and watching him become his own little person and make his own decisions and, like, having to let him do that.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it's full on.
Yeah.
And then I put myself back into the mind of, like, my father, my mother, watching me. And even now, you go and see them and you're still their little boy. You might be a middle-aged man now, but they still remember, they remember a little kid that couldn't wipe his own ass. And that's the problem, is you'll remember, that little person that needed you to do everything. And then they become their own big person telling you how the world should work.
You can shove it,
And you're like, settle down, tiger.
You don't know shit, buddy.
You don't know shit. And you're going to discover that in the worst fucking way possible. And what a terrible thing.
Yeah, it's...
You go, ugh. But see, we're just not smart enough because we did the same thing where they're going, what the fuck do you know, old man? What the fuck do you know, mum and dad? We got this. We're way smarter than you.
Yeah, people are fucking stupid. Like,
we are
inherently, we are
so stupid.
fucking dumb. We're dumb and complicated.
Dumb and complicated.
There's no silver bullet. I mean, The Power of Now, Eckhart Tolle, that's something you probably should read fucking once a year at least.
I haven't read that for a couple of years, but I've read it quite a few times, and I've done the audiobook, which I also recommend. It's lovely listening to it in his voice.
Yeah, he's very like
he's very
monotonal, isn't he?
Very, very soothing.
Yeah, that's a book I'll never throw out. But it's fucking hard to...
It's hard to do.
Do it, yeah. I don't think we're wired that way, naturally.
Well, we're not, because we're wired for safety and, like, to stay out of danger and to stay in safety. And this is why we have so much trouble, is because we're not running from a bear. We've got other things, but in our mind we see them as life and death situations. Paying bills and stuff, or client problems. Our mind can't differentiate running from a bear or remembering to do something on time.
Yeah,
which is insane. Like, that's a fucking biological flaw.
It affects your cardiovascular system.
Yeah.
And learning shit's good. I like learning stuff.
Learning shit is the best.
But I did so much reading of non-fiction for probably 10 years that I was like, man, I just fucking need to read fiction. And probably the last 5 years I've just read mostly, probably 90% fiction. Like, I need a fucking break. Like, I'm sure it's all in there somewhere. Maybe I need to go and live a little bit and just live through stories if I'm reading fiction books. But yeah,
I've really enjoyed biographies in more recent years. Like Agassi, Obama.
Oh yeah,
they've been some real standout. They're two of the best that I've ever read. Agassi is incredible. I don't know if you've ever...
No. I mean, I know his story loosely, but...
Oh, mate, that's a cracker. Again,
still married, I think.
Yeah.
Steffi Graf.
Tell you what, he is full-blown man's search for meaning.
Is he?
Truly. Mate, he was wearing a wig, and like, because his hair was falling out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like, he was so worried that he'd lose his, Nike sponsorship and all the things, because that was, the whole look and the whole vibe, and his body wasn't fucking walking, and he couldn't stand up and couldn't get out of bed, and holy fuck. And then he's gone on to, the thing he's most proud of is like the education stuff that he's facilitated in later life, where he's like giving back to the community.
Didn't he say he fucking hated tennis?
Oh yeah,
in a lot of ways.
Well, same as anything, mate. You start something because of the joy.
Yeah.
And then...
I don't know, fucking tennis, that'd be a fucking hard work.
Oh, terrible job. And it's terrible on your body because it's the
Oh.
explosive speed and then the stopping. And you, like, devastates their bodies.
Yeah, I don't know how they do it.
No, it's fucking brutal. But anything at elite level, anything where you've got to work that hard for that long, you sure as hell suck the life out of it. You remove all the joy.
Well, some of them just keep going, like Nadal and Federer went to, almost 40,
Yeah.
I think. Just fucking loved it. Djokovic is still going. Just got beat in the Wimbledon final last week.
See, that's the thing.
2 years in a row, got beat by the young fella.
Or do they not know any different?
Well, yeah.
You know, what do you do?
Maybe.
Terrifying. What do you do if you don't do that?
I was talking to your wife about this earlier. So I was talking about the State of Origin, which was last night, and boo the Blues. I'm a Queenslander, so it was a good game. But I was talking to your wife about how we sort of idolise sports people, but we only know like one side of them in sport, and probably a lot of them are fucked up, terrible humans. But then when you finish, because you haven't been working on yourself, possibly, but when you finish your career, you drop off a fucking cliff. Some of them will land into decent commentary jobs, but most of them are fucked.
No, most of them are fucked.
And where's the preparation for that? I don't know if there is these days. Maybe
There is. There's more of it, and there's a lot more support. And I can tell you from the elite stuff that I've been involved with in recent years that there are pathways and there's more support. But it's still a brutal existence. Like, they are fighting tooth and nail to be in that position. You know, there's 50 other people that want that spot.
Yep.
So if you fucking step off the gas, you are out.
Yep.
And your product is you physically.
Yeah.
And
You're injured.
You're
fucked.
injured, you're fucking done. Like, game over. And you've got to remember, again, think back to 22-year-old Chris. They're in the top job at 22 years old.
Yep.
Like, you don't have the mental faculties.
No.
Like, you don't even have full control of yourself.
And people just, like, abuse them.
Abuse them, idolise them, all sorts of things.
Quick to throw them under the bus.
Absolutely, mate. I don't envy their position at all, because to have your life thrust into the spotlight when all you wanted to do was play football, the bit you didn't sign up for, you know, would you want people seeing you at your worst? You know, or when you're having a bad day, and to record that and put that on the internet as news?
No.
Like, holy fuck, I don't want anyone to see that shit.
Fuck
and,
no.
and that's what happens to these young fellas.
Yeah.
And I actually feel terrible for them. And look, some of them are just fucking morons. But think about some of the things that we did as younger people, and we were also fucking morons.
It's relatable. And,
It's very relatable.
you know, we didn't really have recording devices in our pockets back then, but
whereas
they
now,
were very, very basic. Nothing was really put on the internet,
And
because
there
we had
wasn't-
28k modems. But
correct, there wasn't a 48 or 24-hour media cycle.
No.
Whereas now, you know, I feel really sorry for those kids that
Yeah.
are doing that, because they're not prepared for what they're getting thrust into, and they can't possibly be. And I just,
Yep.
I think that it's a lot of weight for them to carry. And I think that it's very hard. And then people do idolise them, and then doors that wouldn't have opened for them are now, you know, rivers of champagne and rivers of gold in that moment. And then imagine how disgruntled you'd be when all that just goes away.
And then you're hero to zero, so
Correct.
to speak. Or you might be recognised, but for what?
Or then you
not
look at some
playing
of the
anymore.
athletes who have finally stopped, and then, you know, they'll put on a few kilos, and then the media will fucking rip them for going, look at this big fat fuck, look at this fatty, you know, stop doing sport, and now they're a big fatty fat.
Yeah.
And you're like, these poor pricks, like, you don't know what they're dealing with, you don't know what's going on in their life, you don't know what they're battling.
Yelena Dokic, for example.
Yeah, and they just fucking crucify them to get clicks and bait people, because that's how they make money, with zero concern.
Zero fucking actual journalism involved.
Of the
like
damage that does to the individual.
Women's fucking weekly or something.
Yeah.
Shit ass.
Mate, horrible. Like, fucking horrible. And this is why I don't feel bad for them getting these monster salaries, because I'm like, that's the end.
Yeah, you got to earn it.
They might have
in a
3
short
years
amount
or
of time.
5 years, and then you're done.
If you're really lucky, like 10 to 15, but
Absolutely, and that's only a handful.
most people aren't getting that.
No,
Only
and then
the
you think
elite of
about
the elite. But
the damage to your bodies.
Yeah.
And these blokes are now, they're studying all the concussion issues, and they're ending up with neurological disorders because of the constant impacts.
Yeah.
You look at how hard they're running at each other and how hard they hit each other because they are such elite athletes now.
Yeah.
And you imagine, like, the fucking G-force going through your body of somebody running into you.
Yeah. Like last night, did you watch that game?
No.
Oh, my God.
I was on a plane.
Oh, that's right. Back from Melbourne. Yeah. But yeah, mate, they were just going hammer and tong. Like, it was really good to watch.
Yeah, I heard.
But, you worry about their...
Can't be good for you.
No.
And again, mate, that's the Romans, this is the gladiators. That's the circus to keep the people entertained.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's fun to play when you're good. I mean, you probably played rugby at school. That was fun.
Oh, badly. Can't kick,
I
can't
played
throw, can't catch,
fucking badly
mate.
too. I was in the worst team in the grade. But
Yeah, I was in the Ds. I was a second row because I was a bit bigger.
Yep.
But I only played one season because I was so shit.
D's is pretty good, mate. I was in the Fs.
Oh, we didn't have enough team to form an F. The Ds was the worst.
It's very popular in our year. We had usually I had a G's one year, I think.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
No, I was as bad as it got. I was bottom of the barrel.
The F was for fun, we used to say, because we'd just go out there and just fuck around and be dickheads and
See, I don't even remember
just
having
try
fun.
and KO people and
Yeah.
coat hanger them and...
It was just the thing you were supposed to do, and I tried it, and I'm like, this sucks so bad. Brought me zero joy.
Each to their own.
Yeah, still does very little for me, unfortunately. But again, mate, we're going to jump back on track to your story. You have done a yoga studio. You've had the joy ripped out of that. Where are we here in your work journey? Where did you go after?
Oh, yeah. So I was teaching yoga. I did a year and a bit of disability support work.
Right.
As well. I don't know if you knew that one.
Talk to me about that. Look, I am aware of that, but I can't recall what specifically you did.
I worked for
phone service or something.
Yeah, Uniting Care.
Right.
So church group. Well, originally a church and then became a business, I suppose, looking after people with disability. Because I always wanted to, I was like, I want to help people. I don't really know how. Want to maybe do counselling. Did a diploma in counselling. Couldn't get a job in counselling. Went, I'll do some support work and see what that's like.
Why couldn't you get a job in counselling? Is that an experience thing, or? It seems weird.
I don't know. It seems like either you just got to do it yourself, or there was nothing at the time.
Really?
I think this was in 2012 or something.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Job market was pretty rough back then.
Yeah, and it was sort of, at that time, was either you're a psychologist or you're fucked. That's... Which I didn't want to go and do another fucking degree.
It strikes me as a lot of work.
Yeah, well, I didn't
Particularly if you don't enjoy it.
spend the money and... so went, we'll do support work and do yoga at the same time, teach them yoga. And that wasn't the greatest time. It's fucking hard work, and all credit to people who can do it, but it was a lot of wiping asses, feeding people that don't interact, and it's tough work. It's a lot of caring for...
Just helping people with day-to-day function.
Exactly.
That the rest of us take for granted.
Yeah, and it wasn't really for me.
No.
I just felt like I wanted to help people in a way to, I don't know, develop what they could do, I guess. Help them move from X to X, whereas people I was working with, they weren't going to change. They couldn't.
No, they didn't have the capacity.
And I just found it a bit... I don't know, it just wasn't evolving. I wanted to be able to evolve things.
You wanted to see progress.
Yeah. Yeah, rightly or wrongly, some people are very well suited to that type of job, and there were some awesome people that I met who were super caring and lovely and just wanted to look after people. And it's a rapidly growing industry, particularly now with the NDIS. But I did that for a while and went, oh yeah, that's not really for me. Why don't I start a coffee shop? As you fucking do.
That's been my dream many days, as I've been beating my head into a wall and going, why have I built a business around professional services? I've dreamed of making coffees, Chris. Shatter that dream for me.
Well, first thing I'll tell you is spend money on the correct location.
Right.
That is your key.
So for people who have dreams of starting a coffee shop...
spend all your money on location, the rest of it could matter two-fifths of fuck all.
Yeah, right. And when you say location, what are the markers for a good coffee shop?
A lot of foot traffic.
Right.
A lot of foot traffic, and not... You want more businesses, not residential. Because residential, they're not necessarily around as much during the day and a weekday.
Yeah, good point. It's all empty.
Yeah. So my mistake was I just picked somewhere cheap. That I, in my fucking deluded mind, thought that I could bring people there and it would be a destination. And it was, to a degree, and people would fucking go out of their way to come there, but not to the extent that I was actually making anything more than paying for what I needed to pay. And creating my own walls of hell, where I'd have to be there at a set time and close at a set time and fucking stand around waiting for someone to come. And I didn't have, at the time I was also coming off like support work and yoga, and I just had no fucking money to spend on anything. I couldn't market it. I couldn't do anything apart from basic stuff like.
And if your location was wrong and there weren't people there during the day, like who are you marketing to anyway? If it's a ghost town after work starts.
Yeah, it was pretty quiet. I think I did, I'd be lucky to do 80 to 100 coffees a day. That'd be like a really good day. And in coffee, like you really need to be doing, I think if it were just you by yourself, you'd want to be doing at least 200 or more a day. Like if you've got the price of milk and the cost of coffee and the cost of rent and you're selling it for $5 or whatever, then you can see how many fucking cups you need to make. And it's relentless work. Like it's pretty fucking dull. Yeah. For me, anyway, I'm not necessarily one for enjoying utter repetition. I need a bit of something.
The variety.
Bit of variety. Bit of randomness in there. So it was very much like, this fucking sucks. Like, ugh.
Because it was about 12 months.
Yeah.
So sort of the term of the lease or something, was it?
No, I just went, this sucks. Like, I ended up having it like sold to a couple of dudes, and then the landlord said, "No, you can't do that. Sorry, I'm not allowing it to be sublet." Basically.
Great.
Yeah.
It's helpful.
I mean, it was like selling it for $10,000, but that would have fucking helped at the time.
That would have helped a lot.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Because I went from that to working in a call centre. With a mate of mine who needed salespeople. I was like, well, get me the fuck out of this place because I need to make some fucking money. And not long before I had testicular cancer. So that was probably a couple of months into having the coffee shop. I was like, oh, yeah, you've got that. We need you to get into surgery. I had to get someone to look after the place. Get that tumour removed. Thankfully, I didn't need fucking chemo because that would have fucking sucked. I know lots of people who've had it. It's fucked.
Terrible. Your hair falls out, apparently.
So I got very lucky. I'm under no illusion there, and testicular cancer is one of the ones to get if you're going to get one. 98% survival rate, I believe. So it's...
As long as they get it early.
Yeah. I mean, it's not fun to go through for anyone, obviously, and you have to get a nut removed. But, that was around that time, and it was pretty good that my mum had kept my insurance policies going through work and actually had a payout from the insurance
Oh, shit. Okay.
for trauma cover
Yeah.
for cancer, which helped me get a deposit for a unit that I bought in the valley.
Wow.
So it was like I was poor, and then I got like a bunch of money,
Yeah.
and I thought, well, I don't want to spend
No,
this.
don't want to fuck this up. This is a good chance.
So I'll
I've
put
had
it
a-
on as a deposit of a place off the plan, which
Yeah.
I wouldn't fucking buy off the plan again. Fuck that.
No.
Takes forever. It's so annoying. But yeah, then I was like, man, I need to fucking make money so I can afford this place that I've bought off the plan, because assuming it's going to be in, say, 2 years' time. And so I went into the call centre and did that, and for a year and a half. Still was teaching yoga a bit then, and
How was the call centre?
oh, fuck.
I have to imagine that that's some kind of living nightmare. I
Oh,
imagine,
mate.
like, I think of like the movie Office Space or something, and like I just imagine just chaos, like just institutional chaos.
The best thing is, because it's such a shit job, and it's such a fucking repetitive job, the best thing was you made a lot of friends, because everyone
The
was in the
collective
trenches together.
Yeah,
Like,
the
it
collective
fucking
hate.
sucks.
of the job of dialing and getting yelled at and getting told to fuck off. Were you selling stuff, or were you chasing?
Yeah, I mean, it was, as far as like call centres go, it was, you know, relatively easy sales. We were selling courses in diplomas and bachelor degrees, and so it wasn't cold calling as such.
Oh,
It
okay,
was
so it was sort of warm.
sort of warm-ish.
Yeah, okay, so they at least knew it was coming,
Yeah,
and it's not full cold.
yeah. But the thing that made it hard was the KPIs, like 50 calls a day, 2 hours of talk time. You know, you got a fucking board up there. Like every time you get a sale, there'd be the fucking TV screens that you'd have a theme song. Like I think 50 Cent, which was like I think it was like "What Up Gangster."
Yeah, full blown boiler room.
Yeah.
Did they have a bell? Did you ring?
No, because it would go, this explosion would go on the screen, and then it'd go, "What up, blood? What up, gangster?" And then everyone would go, "Hey, Fitchy's got another one
He's done
on
it.
your mate."
Yep.
Then you'd like shake everyone's hand. It was a bit like fucking, you know, those old sales movies.
Oh yeah.
You know, Glengarry, Glen Ross and whatnot. But yeah, it made some good friends. I've still got 2 like solid friends from there to this day. Well, probably 3, but one's in Sydney, so I don't really see him at all. So you do forge bonds in the trenches of like these shittest jobs. And I'm sure you've had those experiences at your average jobs. But the place was starting to sink, and I'm like, yeah, I got to get the fuck out of here. Like, I'm over it, and B, the place is going to fucking fold.
See the walls closing in.
Yeah, because the government was cracking down on the whole fee help stuff, and the courses they were providing weren't really meeting. A lot of these providers were just taking the piss. So I knew that was coming. We were selling on good faith, because I don't like to sell
No, you
bullshit, but
you
the
wanna believe
teachers
in what
weren't
you're doing.
delivering what we were
okay.
sort of saying, and that was like grinding my gears.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I'm telling students X, and then you're delivering.
And then you're not doing what I've said you will do.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is if you can't be a person of your word.
Yeah. That doesn't sit well.
No.
So then old man said, "Oh, well, you might as well come back again, because you know, I'll be looking to hand it over," and that was 8 years ago, so he hasn't handed it over yet.
It's a long lineage.
Yeah, I think it's his baby, and he wants to stay there as long as he can. It's his main hobby. And joy in life is going to work.
Well, at least he enjoys it.
Yeah. Yeah, I enjoy it for the most part as well.
But again, it's man's search for meaning. You know, you can't find... You've got to keep exploring, and I think that that's the big thing. And I look at all these experiences that you had, and I know that, and even as I listen to you, you probably still haven't found what you're looking for, as you two sang to us. That was weird. Were they singing that in about 92? Yeah, fuck. It's 2024. Still haven't fucking found it.
Yeah.
That's exhausting. Where do you know, fast forward 20 years, you know, your daughter will be 25. What's Chris Fitch doing in 20 years?
Shit, well, I'll be 58. I don't know, that's... I'm not a big future thinker.
Maybe you could be.
Maybe I could be. I've always tried to be.
Maybe it'd help. Your SL will be particularly cool there. Like, we've got to have flying cars.
We're worth 200 grand by then.
Yeah.
Hopefully. I don't know, man. Like, my main goal at the moment is being available for school drop-offs, pickups, you know, the changing schedule of co-parenting, which is part of the reason I've stayed where I am these last few years. Is I've had the itch to move, but
it's the consistency. It's being there, because it's not just about you anymore.
Yeah, it's paying the bills and then having a stable base for your child to work from.
Yeah.
And obviously I can't move because her mother's in Brisbane as well. So it's not like I can... It's not like I can pick up and go overseas or try my hand in as many things as I may have if I was still single without a child. But yeah, that'll change as she gets older.
And it does, around that sort of 7 or 8. Because again, as you said, it's only been sort of 3 or 4 years that I've been more of a man of mayhem and exploring options, because certainly those first 6, 7 years until they get into school and into a bit of routine, like, your life's just a fucking circus.
Yeah.
And it's a circus that operates on their clock.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know, 20 years, man.
Pull it back, make it 10 years.
10 years.
Make it a bit easier. It's not too far away. What will the year be? It'll be 3034.
Fucking hell. 2034.
2034. I don't know where I am. 2034.
1,010 years from now. I don't know, man. I'd find it really hard to put my mind there. I've done lots of workshops on this stuff over the years, and it's like, okay, well, it turns out you're not a great, visualizer. I know you are. Like, you've got big picture in your head. I can't think. I really try to think like that. I just found it really difficult to think like that. I have pretty simple goals.
Well, that's good. Like what? Far them away.
Well, I'd like to own my own place, not the bank own it. That's like a major goal. And then I'd like to, once I didn't have a mortgage to pay. Yeah, I know, it's a tough question, eh? Probably need to give it some more thought.
Well, it helps. And I guess this is something, I don't know, just in the conversation of understanding ourselves, I've heard it many times, and I probably only started doing it more recently, where I started physically writing down what I want my life to be and what I want it to look like and how I want it to be. And I've always gone, yeah, fucking whatever, but I actually did it. And there truly is something about that, putting it on paper. And I don't know if you'll be able to hear it, but yeah, there's people like pretty good potty mouth going on at the workshop next door. But like writing down the things that you want in your life and how you want them to be, how you want yourself, your relationships, and actually putting down, remember in the school diaries it had, the quadrants and the circle about, I don't know if you remember that.
No.
And it sort of talked about, yourself, your community, your spiritual, and then it sort of all radiated out. And just understanding what's important for you in each of those segments. And, you know, for me, it's making time for, you know, my own mental space,
Yep.
for, you know, for therapy, for exercise, for myself, and then putting time into, you know, my family's activities, my son's activities, my wife, and then my community, things that I do in and around that, and then things that I do just for me.
Yeah.
And what I want those to be, and what that's
So
actually
you wrote
allowed-
that all down?
Oh yeah,
did you?
wrote it all down.
Yeah.
And what that's allowed me to do is it's allowed me to go 10 times harder in each thing, because what I did an audit of my life.
Yeah.
And anything that didn't serve those, I got rid of it.
Okay.
And it actually brought back a shitload more time because I was doing all these fucking things, like, you know, giving my time to all sorts of stuff, and I got rid of so much superfluous shit that I was doing,
Yeah.
so that then the things I wanted that are important to me,
Yeah.
I could put additional time and effort into those. Because I've had people say to me, they're like, how the fuck do you do all these things?
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I only do those things. Like, that's all. I don't have other shit going on. I just do a handful of things, and
Yeah.
I do them absolutely full noise.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, like, no other distractions,
That's
no
what I
other...
get.
Yeah, and I've found that to be,
Really?
well, useful for me.
Yeah.
As I've tried to fucking figure out what I want it to look like. Doing good shit with good people, mate, is actually... Because I wrote that down too. Like, that's my...
That generic or?
That's it. I want my life to be about doing good things with good people.
Well, it's like when we were camping the other day. It's like, man, this is. You do realise that this is what we work for.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
this is
it.
These are the good old days that we'll be talking about
Absolutely.
in 10 years or 20
Yeah.
years.
And we're going, oh, God, remember when we took our kids and I had,
Yeah.
you know, we're driving around on a farm and,
Yep.
oh, it's fucking amazing times.
Yeah.
And I think it's lovely to reflect on those, because simultaneously, as we're sitting here going, you know, I'd like to own a home and I'd like to do this and I want to do that. As you said, this is the power of now, where we go, all that exists is this moment. And you're like, whoa.
Fuck. And all the shit that happens in your life is your life situation, not your actual life itself.
Correct. And it's so insane, which is why I enjoy these things so much. And obviously when you're camping and having a beer and you've got a fire and you're staring at the stars, it is a wonderful time to contemplate existence.
Yeah. It certainly is.
Whereas it's a lot harder when you're, you know,
In the midst of it.
in the midst of it, and even here just trying to have a conversation, and you know, I think if your phone buzzed and it interrupts you and somebody makes a noise over there, to find silence is so fucking difficult in our modern world in the year 2024.
Yeah.
And like, that's actually what I crave more than anything else, is like just quiet,
Yeah.
like time to think
Yeah.
and time to create, and
Yeah.
time to,
I don't know if you ever drive and just mute everything.
all the time,
Yeah, same.
all the time.
Sometimes I go through phases, I listen to like a fucking ton of
Yeah,
podcasts, and then I'm like, no, it needs to be like quiet week
all
or
the
like
time.
quiet day. Just fucking mute.
Oh, mate, when I woke up this morning, you know, I only had a few hours sleep, didn't get in till, you know, didn't fly until late last night, didn't get to sleep till quite late.
Yeah.
You know, woke up fairly early and was just like fucking shattered.
Yeah.
Like every ounce of my being just wanted to sleep, like all day.
Yeah.
And I got up a bit earlier and I remembered that all my podcast stuff, so I had my first meeting at 10 a.m.
Yeah.
And at 9:10, I realised all my stuff was at Oxley for the podcast. And I'm like, fuck.
Oh, shit.
So I'm like barely functional.
Winning.
And I'm like driving over there and like, you know, you're just irritated and you're just tired and
Yeah.
angry and you're like, why the fuck do I do this to myself?
Yeah.
But then,
See the why.
and then simultaneously,
Those irritating times.
you go, I'm very fortunate to get to do this. And it was funny, there's like in that, because I was driving the Falcon, and that car just always makes me smile. Because, you know, you give it the berries and then it's... yeah.
The boost.
And it does make you
The
smile.
boost. Happiness.
That and a bit of Parkway Drive at full noise always gets you going. Yeah, viva the underdogs. Phew. that rips. But it's so hard to keep yourself. And I think this is the thing that I try to
It's daily
say
task.
out loud, is that, despite any highlights that you see on Facebook, like, existence is just a fucking never-ending shit show. And it's like every day is hard, and trying to pay attention every day is hard.
And then
is certainly my experience.
And each day goes so fucking quickly at the same time.
So fucking quickly.
So you're trying to get the most out of the day, and then it's...
What time is it now? Yeah, it's 12 minutes past 4. Like, we gotta start wrapping this up because I've got to go and do the next thing.
Yep.
I've got to go and be a good dad next.
Yeah.
And you just roll on to the next thing.
If you spend too much time in poor me, then it's...
absolutely.
Yeah, if you start writing down, I've had a rough day, I have to do so many things, and or if you turn around and go, I actually have a really lovely little boy who enjoys drumming, or...
That's what we're doing tonight.
Yeah, I know.
It's drumming day.
I know.
I love that.
I met with your wife this morning.
And she said to me, she's like, I was on the plane last night having a little...
She's like, I can take him.
Yeah, I was having a pity party because I was just fucking shattered. Because, you're doing 6 hours of flying in a day plus 8 hours of work.
Yeah.
On, 5 hours of sleep. And coming home, there's nothing left in the tank. You're fucking... You're running on fumes. And you're just exhausted because you put all your positivity out and there's just not much left. It's just the dregs. And, Andrew's going, oh, no, I'll take him. And I'm like, no. I said, I miss out on so much because of things I have to prioritise. And, I make the time. I put this in my diary and I go, this is... unless
it's non-negotiable.
It's non-negotiable. There are a handful of times where I've had to be away or whatever. But, to the best of my ability... I make that time to spend with my son because I actually really enjoy it because I do miss out on so much, and she, covers the spread so often to give me the opportunity to do these things that I do.
Yeah.
And I feel like I miss out on a lot because I choose to do these things. And that's that double-edged sword.
Yeah, well, your son's looking at you going, well, fucking Dad's a legend. He's doing things that he enjoys, and then he'll hopefully take note of that.
But see, what ends up happening is more the resentment of...
Dad was never there.
Dad was never there.
Yeah.
And the other thing is you've always got time for everybody else. And that's the view from the inside.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is I've received that from my family as well, where they go, they look at Facebook and this sort of stuff and they go, well, fuck, you've always got time for everybody else. How come we're last? And this is the problem, is that's the reality of this. Trying to make something of yourself is about as shit as it gets.
Yeah.
Because you end up doing damage to, the people who are supposed to be number one. It's just fucking terrible.
Well, then if you didn't do these things, what would they think of you then?
Don't know.
They'd go,
that's the problem.
Fuck, you're a lazy fuck. You do fuck all. You're always here. You don't need to give us this much fucking time. I'm sick of you. Get the fuck out of here.
Absolutely. I'd be super annoying if I was around all the time.
There's no,
no happy medium.
Honestly, you're doing you, and you have sometimes a chaotic schedule, and you just got to make it work.
You go, that's it. And it's just the whole, when you're there, try and be present.
Yeah.
Don't try not to do it by half. Try not to be on my phone. Try to, try to remind myself of that. And again, I'm not perfect at that. I still fuck that up. But you keep trying.
There's not that many hours in the day.
Fucking not, mate. That's my constant joke.
If you're running a business with your brother, plus all the other things, and a family.
Well, that's the thing. I've got 2 companies.
House to maintain.
Yeah.
45 vehicles.
Quite a few.
Who you consider your children as well?
I do, my babies. Oh, they're always good to me.
You can stroke them.
They might be always broken, but they bring me great joy. I've talked about it many times. I actually find it very therapeutic when I'm working on cars and vehicles because it allows me to solve problems that are irrelevant to the work and life problems, which then gives me the headspace to solve the work and to solve those problems.
Get in a problem-solve mode.
Yeah, because I solve problems that I like solving.
Yeah.
As compared to, for fuck's sake, I can't believe I have to fucking deal with this shit, which is what most of the work problems can quite often become, particularly if things escalate or people do the wrong thing or, and.
Yeah, well, if you want to...
Mate.
What's the saying? If you want to be successful, you got to trade up in your problems, like get better problems to solve.
Absolutely. Better, and I'm actually pretty happy with most of the problems that I'm solving, but it doesn't make them any less complex. And all the baseline problems are still there.
Yeah.
These are all the fun things, which is why the sitting and discussing, I think, is so valuable.
It is good.
It is good.
I think I would like to do... I don't know if you've ever listened to Conversations on the ABC. It's... yes, I listen to 612 ABC, everyone, at age 38.
You are an old man in a Mercedes after all.
It's quite enjoyable. They have a lot of just chatting to people about what they do, and a show called Conversations. It's just different people every day from Australia, usually, like Aussies. I'm like, man, I'd like to do that for a fucking job. That'd be cool. To interview different people, and it's often people that have written like a memoir or something like that about their adventures, which is kind of what you do.
People are
you kind of do that sort of thing on your podcast, really.
Exactly, mate. I just get people to come and share their journey, and just discuss their experiences and what they learned and what they felt. And oddly, that's been the comments that I've received from people that listen, is that they just enjoy that it's relatable. Yeah. Whereas you listen to your movie stars and all these sorts of things, like they do operate in a different. Yeah. They offer it's a different plane of existence. Yeah. And it's wonderful to get a deep look into that. But like the people that come on my show, broadly speaking, we're just all regular Joes. Yep. Doing our thing. Kind of the Humans of New York type vibe. Oh yeah. If you're I'm across that. Yeah, because they just would talk to people and people just person you'd pass on the street and would never notice their existence. Yeah. And they just have these extraordinary
photos and then the story. Yeah, it's fucking interesting.
People are incredible.
For sure.
Well, Chris, I think we are somewhere near the end.
I was feeling like that, yeah.
Well, these things reach a natural conclusion, I've found. Yeah. Where we go, we've found the journey. Chris, thank you.
Not as long as Cats of Heroes podcast. So.
No, we talk shit for a fair while, but mate, we're still at 2 hours 40. Would you believe it?
Yeah, minus a couple of pauses.
Yeah, that'll only be 8 or 10 minutes. You're still at 2.5 hours, Chris. You have hit or at everything consistency.
Yeah, well, it's got to be minimum 2, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah, we like to punch out.
You had anyone less than an hour?
Oh, yeah. Lots of my early ones.
Oh, yeah.
Some of my early ones were like 10 minutes.
Shit.
Yeah, my first big one was actually Matty Stewart, because I just interviewed some people that I knew, and then I got Matty on, and that was the start, I think, of where the show...
the long-form conversation.
I think that's the start of where the show found its legs, because having been involved in Matty's story all the way through, that obviously gives me a leg up as somebody who doesn't know how to interview. Yeah. Because I sort of broadly knew his story, and I was able to guide it, and I guess then learn how to get a story and put it together. And then, just kept asking my friends, going, will you come and talk to me?
Yeah. This is why I'm here in episode 65, I believe.
Yeah, you might even be 66.
Oh, well.
So it's pretty good. Did you want to throw a quick plug in for the family business as well, if you need?
Oh, sure, yeah. So the business is SolarWise, solarwise.com.au. We do solar panels, solar hot water systems. We manufacture pool heaters. We do air conditioners, skylights, insulation, window tinting, ventilators, a few other things. I've probably bored you all to tears. If you'd like to know more, jump on the website, hit me up.
Yeah, Chris has been very helpful with such things. My house is heated and cooled thanks to SolarWise.
Yes, air conditioners and pool heater and solar panels. And
pool heaters. Oh, mate, I've done it all. I've got half the SolarWise. I've got half the SolarWise catalogue at my joint. Chris, thank you very much for making the time today.
That's been good.
For bringing the SL as well, so we could have that as
Any excuse to go for a drive.
Mate, any excuse to go for a drive, get the car out. But, buddy, on that note, we're going to wrap it up.
Cheers, mate.
Thank you, everybody. If you're listening, made it all the way to the end, be kind to yourselves. Thanks for listening to the All Red Everything podcast.